Hi there, it's me, Costa, and this week's episode, we interviewed my old elementary school friend Holden, or as he goes by, HSR. He's a rapper and a fellow podcaster with 3 podcasts. You can see all his links in the description below. I decided to take the time to, just make the introduction myself since I didn't get to talk much in the episode. But so the first part of the episode, Jay and Holden talk a lot about rap. I don't know fuck all about rap, so didn't have much input. And then second part of the episode, Jay and Holden get pretty into it about childhood these days versus in the past, whose fault it is that kids these days are always on their cell phone, and it went on to like reading, like books, like ebooks, audiobooks versus real paperback books, and which one's better for you. Personally, I don't think there's really a difference as long as you're paying attention. I don't remember if I actually said that in the show. They got really deep into it. Anyway, so I'm going to play you 2 songs. I'll also link those. They are both Holden songs. Yeah, so one is Jimmy Says, and the other is Dismiss This Song. They're from his album, and enjoy the show. Thanks for listening.
A conclusion drawn from experience in public places straight. Bullets fly by a conversation of all the population. You don't give 2 fucks about its tribulations. It's your place of focusing concentration. If that motherfucker had it, why do we choose to indulge in such nonsense? All of which serves nation in this alienation is degradation when there's no obligation to anything but isolation. Now whatever happened to accountability? When you point the finger, 3 remain pointed back silly. We're all to blame. How you gonna fill me with another sob story of victimized pity? In every altercation, 2 partners entangled until once I strangle, that's the destination. The itinerary's been set with all due respect. Your arguments contrary to mine, and my mind is set. With the haters on the one side, haters on the other. Resolution from the hot to haters sounds like a fucking blunder. Integrity so it is under, and it seems like all I want is not centered on each other. Maybe I'm crazy because I want to change the world. Maybe I will sell out before I reach all of my goals. Maybe, just maybe, I can reach it with my words. Who knows? In time, maybe we'll progress and grow. What order to consume let it program my moods and puke in my company when I'm sure to lose. The unnecessary vices leave me in financial crisis, so I think it's time to organize these tools. Change the cycle, it's juvenile. Take a seat on milestones, lest you never break through, sir. Cry out and deny, let a system all you find of the least amount of effort you can work for. Whatever happened to our ethics and the longing and the loins for us to produce the best shit? The words are always spit, but we're action minds backing it. Welcome everyone to the land of the hypocrite. Of course I'm talking no one, it always facing everyone. Bringing up like these problems will not solve them. Then again, my good is silence, ignorance is what we're fighting against. Where can I place my faith? What are the stakes? What do I have to lose if I did decide to choose to dedicate my life to being a vigilante? Think it settles scores though, give us more though. I sign up for words the council's fighting for. Maybe I'm crazy because I want to change the world. Maybe I will sell out before I reach all of my goals. Maybe, just maybe, I can reach it with my words. Who knows? In time, maybe we'll progress and grow. It all starts with twisted letters, each are false, encrypted better. They'll never remember this combination of alphanumeric characteristics. The logistics of how real mystics live the trimmings of each chin. Everything is linguistics, the definitive descriptions of all permissions, notwithstanding this shit. When all existence is the mission, a submissive acquisition, chasing insignificant recognition. Come on now, what the fuck happened to humanity? But why do all the needs feed the capital machine? And will the man of thief when anyone expects a tweet with immediate relief. With all the letters twisted to say for what's been mixed into the edicts of the bigwigs, determine what's our verdict, what will permit. Only with yearning for learning can we remit that which makes this society sick of this bullshit. Censor everything for the kids, pretend that none of it exists, and buy another pair of fly kicks. My lack of knowledge is a trick, I'm just another kid bitching in spite of it messed up and sick. Maybe I'm crazy because I want to change the world. Maybe I will sell the people I read. And yo, fuck that noise. Dismiss this song, since none of what I said makes any fucking sense. Dismiss this song. I'm too young to know what's what. Please, liberalness is nonsense. Dismiss this song. All these questions without answers, another plague, another defect. Dismiss this song. Anyone think I collaborate in intelligence? Maybe I'm crazy because I want to change the world. Maybe I will sell out people I reach all of my goals. Maybe, just maybe I can reach it with my words. Who knows, in time, maybe we'll progress and grow. Dismiss this song.
Now playing Why the Hell Not with Jay and Costa.
Welcome back to Why the Hell Not with Jay and Costa.
I am Jay.
And I'm Costa. And today we have a special guest.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's HSR. I hope the fucking mic is working because we never ended up testing it before.
No, we did test it. We did test it.
So it's all good?
I checked it out. I checked it out.
Yeah, I just checked it's on.
It's definitely on. Yeah, I see the blue lines and everything.
So, introduce yourself more. So I do a few things in my regular life. I work for a software company where I apply the magic of my knowledge to ensure that you as a user have a wonderful experience if you need help with a fucking PDF application. Super dope. Basically, I get paid to write and talk and think. It's like being in university.
Are you the Indian guy that I call for tech support?
No, I'm the guy that tells the boss of the Indian guy, here's the support manual I wrote, your agent better follow it or fuck off.
So you're the big boss.
I'm like the scientist behind the scenes who tells the big guys what the right answer should be based off of the modern. Like, it's my job to like study, and so they'll give me like a project, like, here, go accomplish this goal. And then I Google stuff, and I cite stuff, and I put together some shit that's like the equivalent of a university paper. Anyway, that's the day job, but it gave me a lot of skills, like access to a microphone and shit, which led to the other stuff. So I rap, which is, I guess, the
tell us about that. You rap. You have 4 podcasts, right?
3. Well, we'll talk about the podcast in a bit. Focus, Holden. The rapping started seriously in 2012.
I don't want to hear the serious stuff right now.
Yeah, tell us how you got into rap.
Oh man, I was like 12 and Eminem was like fucking popping.
Well, I knew you when you were 12. We went to elementary school together. It was a little bit
after that, right? Because in elementary school, my life was a little more subdued and I was innocent. But even then, do you remember like there was this moment where we had this like school dance thing and we are singing shit that we used to do, and we stayed after and we listened to like the thong song like 27 times in a row. That was like the highlight of elementary school for me. That's when I discovered I kind of got into music. And then
I was gonna say something different. I was gonna be like, that's when you discovered you're into girls.
To be honest, I'm pretty sure I had no idea what the fuck that song was.
Yeah, no, neither did I.
I remember my first... Hold on, I'm not going to completely go off topic.
That's
Let's
okay.
talk about that for a second. I remember my first school dance. I remember that. That was ridiculous. I remember last year we were about to graduate grade 6, and I just remember girls coming out in leggings and leather pants, and I was like, I like this. I like this.
I like this.
Fair enough. And then... I guess the next year, Eminem popped off with, we were in grade 6 when he released the Marshall Mathers LP, but we were in high school when The Way I Am came out. I saw the music video.
I remember everyone was obsessed with Eminem.
I mean, how could you not be?
White rapper that
and I'm like, it's like usually, you know, grade 7, 8 when you first start to get the independence to care about your own taste and shit, right?
I'm actually just really happy that you chose Eminem, even though like every single white rapper loves Eminem. It's better than liking the guy who sang
Well,
Informer.
you gotta like. First of all, that's a great song. And
Oh.
I do like it a lot. So Snow is dope. He's Canadian. He's kind of a poser, but that's neither here nor there. That song is great though. But let's be real. If you're like a 12-year-old white boy in Montreal, Quebec, right? What rap do you fucking get? You don't even really get the black rap at this point. It's not like YouTube exists. It's not like music so free flowing. And like my parents were all about that. You can't have no swearing shit. So like it wasn't like easy to come
hold
across.
on, Fred Durst. There you go.
Yeah, but
Limp Bizkit.
I found Limp Bizkit after I found Eminem. It wasn't like Eminem because I mean, come on. I mean, like
Best concert I ever went to this day is a Kid Rock.
Oh, Kid Rock's fucking fun. I like Kid Rock, but again, him I found even later on in life.
I'm the opposite. I found Kid Rock and then
it was like that.
Then him.
I didn't have the internet at home until I was like 16, right?
Same.
So it wasn't like I could just go bop around. It was whatever CDs you got access
16.
to. Yeah, 15,
I was
16.
bad, honestly. When we
Really?
got internet, we had dial tone.
Okay, I'm gonna tone it down to like 13, 14 to have internet, but let's say
Well, I mean, I had
didn't-
dial-up at
Like
that
I didn't have
age.
access to like free reign on the internet
go.
where I could go spend
Okay.
more than like let's say without a parent sitting like right over there, you know?
Yeah.
Like without that,
Very
I was
close.
like 16, 17 when that happened, like at the end of high school. So it wasn't like I had a lot of opportunity outside of buying physical discs
Yeah.
to acquire music. And like you can't like what rap do you find at that point in your life? You know, unless
Right.
your parents are into it or whatever. So Eminem was just unavoidable, and he's just the first
is.
white rapper that most of us found. I would say at that age group, at least there wasn't a lot else. There was House of Pain, of course, but I mean. You don't listen to House of Pain and go, I want to be a fucking rapper. But when you look at Eminem, it's like, wow, we can do this too. Is I think a lot of people's first thought is, holy shit, we can do this too. It's not just black music, which I don't want to say that in like a negative way, right? And I understand the danger.
You
of
could
that
get in
sentence.
trouble, yeah.
But at 12 years old, that was the impression I took from it. I'm a lot more enlightened now. But from then, I realized I was good at words. I could follow any rap song that existed. Because inevitably, Yahoo launched... The launch service actually is what it's called. And you could browse through music videos on this Yahoo service with ads and shit, right?
Yeah.
At that point, I started discovering more and more rap, but I was always on point with the rhythm. Like, I had this memory in high school with these girls being like, okay, they were using Sean Paul's Get Busy in their fashion show.
Oh, God.
And I was able to just keep the rhythm for them to practice through on other dances. I mean, my singing game wasn't on point, but in terms of following flows, it's always been easy.
Auto-tune.
Yeah, autotune sounds bad.
Who's
I don't- I'm
the-
gonna
Does
hit
it
you.
though? Because a lot of people have careers because of that.
Yeah, like who
Let's
is
say
he?
like-
Lil
hold
Jon? T-Pain, that's the one that I'm
T-Pain
thinking
did
of.
it in a really cool way.
Oh,
T-Pain,
yeah, defend it.
I will defend that because when T-Pain used autotune, first of all, he can sing like a fucking angel without autotune.
Yeah, I know
So
about that.
there's videos of him with proof, acapella, fucking live on the spot. It's beautiful. So he actually can back it up. But the way he uses autotune was creative. It was
Lil
like.
Wayne.
Wayne's autotune is different. I don't defend it the same way because, like, T-Pain's autotune
Who's
was
bad auto-tune then?
Wayne would be a great example of bad autotune because Wayne doesn't need it. Wayne sounds fucking okay without
He already
autotune.
is wheezy without the
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I listened to that T Wayne album that just dropped with T-Pain and Lil Wayne,
Oh,
their
yeah, I
mixtape, and it was like fucking just Lil Wayne on autotune and T-Pain spitting the nicest bars. Like I think of like it was fucking dope. Like T-Pain actually is a really talented
Well,
dude.
because Lil Wayne's done now. I feel like his career's at the end.
He's so hooked on drugs. He's so diluted from focus, man. You can just look at him. He's cracked out of his fucking mind in terms of priorities.
Okay, so then, anyways, before we go everywhere, so you first inspiration was Eminem, and then
Well, Eminem, Linkin Park soon after was huge for me. Linkin Park is my biggest inspiration.
Yep,
Yeah, no,
definitely.
you can check out
They
Linkin
were my
Park's,
favorite
video
band.
with us.
Yeah, we did do that Linkin Park video.
Yeah.
Costa, you should fucking link that below the video we did on Linkin Park for your people.
Is that Rockin Beards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll,
Here's the Rock.
And it was so we review that. We'll get to the podcasting after.
Right.
Anyway,
Now. Let's go
but I
serious.
started writing lyrics in high school because I was a depressed emo fucker. And what do? You write morose poetry about suicide and
Were you
relationships.
actually emo though? Like,
Oh,
did you carry
dude.
around a guitar?
Honestly,
You know,
bro,
write
picture-
poems and
Okay.
Black nail polish
Your-
and everything.
your
I did
haircut.
some black nail polish in my 20s, but
Oh,
not in
damn.
high school. I was a little goody in high school, but I was depressed and stuff. But I remember like writing shit like "A river turns red from a blow to the head." Oh shit, motherfucker, he's dead. Or, you know, shit like that.
What if
right?
you're not near a river?
I don't know. That song. What I remember about that
a ditch.
particular awful piece that I wrote was that I killed myself in 11 separate distinctive ways in that piece.
Oh, that's
so it
so
was a bunch of
sad.
emo shit. I
Yeah.
took it.
Incarceration, right?
Yeah, maybe. I didn't know what that was. I was too innocent. Then I got to CEGEP after high school. So high school, I established I could write bars and lyrics. I would freestyle a lot walking the dog, but I didn't know what I could do it. I just kind of did it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
cut you in for a
Just
second.
for fun.
So now let's say we're 16, 17, you're writing lyrics and everything. And I'm guessing now because you want to do a career of this and you're doing other things, how did your parents take this?
Oh man, they were like the worst. They're part of the reason I never figured out I could do it. My dad was not very supportive because in his mind it wasn't the safe corporate job I should be going for.
Which I
My-
know.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Did you actually tell them that you
Well,
wanted
I
to?
always sang, right? Like I'm
yeah.
notorious for singing all the fucking time when I'm younger, and they would just tell me to shut the fuck up, which
Yeah.
pissed me
Oh
off.
damn! So it didn't
Yeah.
even get to the discussion of like I want to be a
Nah,
rapper.
nah.
I
So
want to
went
sing.
to CEGEP, and I didn't realize I could do it. I mean, I had the talent and I had the dream. But,
Right.
When did
That-
you move out?
when I was 20, over complicated
have
situations
to
I
go
shouldn't
through that.
get into on here.
It's all right.
But I ended up moving out then. But even to that point, I wasn't serious about it. So I actually recorded my first song not long after I moved out of my mom's, and I was on my own around 20.
Oh, wait,
And
wait,
even-
I'm sorry if I'm going to go. If I ever go too personal, just stop me.
Yeah,
So,
well.
Are your parents together?
No,
Okay.
no. Nah, they're all separate off life. I'm whatever. It's just
I'm not asking about
they
that.
split up when I was 18, and that actually offset my priorities for a very long time
Well, it does
before I
happen
got my
like
shit
that,
together.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It makes
But that happened over CEGEP. I fell in love. I met girls. I discovered that,
like
sex
girls?
was actually amazing. And, I discovered the finer points of adulting, I guess you could say, at the stupid age of young. And I wasn't focused, but I could still rap. So that was cool. And then I did some karaoke in CEGEP. And I'll
Like in
never-
front of the school, or
Yeah,
you went
I
out to
would've
bars.
paid
I
And,
don't know. You would have fucking thought I was dope, man. I'm fucking a sick rapper. So, like, it would
An
have...
asshole person. Even if you were,
You know
good, I
what?
try to make a joke because
You would have tried to troll it, and you would have trolled the fucker I was with, who I won't name. But he did a really bad job. But it was
I have to ask this.
do you do any podcasts with?
No. Yes, that's the question.
Yeah.
Does he do the podcast?
no. I met him way later on. Okay,
You
but
know what I'm
no.
talking about, you.
Yeah. But no. So this, I mean, that kid's like 6 years younger than me. Whatever. He's fucking whatever.
Think
This
he
is
must be-
Yeah,
Sage
well,
right
they're
now.
not in CJEP together
Yeah,
unless he's a fucking
Basic
genius.
math.
Could be.
But
Could be, but
anyway, so we did forgot about Dre, and buddy I'm with fucked up the Dre verse, and you could just see like the black section of the audience like
oh
they're not
shit!
impressed.
Segregation.
Wait.
Then I come in
was
with the
he black
chorus.
himself?
Well, he was one of those light skinned guys.
Oh,
that
so that's
it
even worse.
wasn't helping his case, right?
No, that doesn't help at all.
Darker than Logic. And then I come in with the chorus, and come on, it's an easy fucking song. So I rip it, and I just destroy the song down to the slim shady part, right? I fucking kill it all live. I do the whole thing, and then I kill throughout the third verse when they say, "Shut up, you do the verse." Like you wouldn't have been able to hate because it was that dope.
You'd be surprised what I can hate.
You could, but you'd just be like hating for the sake of hating,
Yeah,
and
that's
everybody
exactly
knows
what I'm
that.
talking
Yeah, Jay does that.
And that kind of shit, it's kind of like, all right, you can do your shit, but the other 97 people freaking out with joy are a lot easier to focus on. That's all I'm trying to say.
Unfortunately, I'm not like that.
No, it was a good time, but I was like 19-ish, and it was like, whoa, this is some like stranger validation, like people like freaking out because I got some talent here.
Right.
And I saw other rappers start performing. I started realizing this is a thing people could do, but I didn't really know how to be serious about life, so...
So when was the first time that you actually sang one of your own original songs?
2012.
2012?
And that was because...
That's later on in your career.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the start of it, really. So I ended up fucking around for a while, right? My early 20s, didn't do much productive. I I dabbled. I jumped on a song here or there. I wrote
You know what's
a bunch
funny
of
about
shit.
that? I remember when we did the first review on the show, and it was the Logic, and I looked at a poster, and you were on the cover, and I never knew it was you.
Yeah.
And I've seen you without seeing you.
Oh, have you seen that poster
Yeah.
before? Yeah, it's a dope. That was 2013, I think, actually.
He's so
The
famous.
poster's talking about. But yeah, so then, I don't know. I ended up getting to about 24 years old. And I know I was 24, and my birthday was right around the corner. And my boy, who moved to Toronto like an asshole, proceeded to look at me and be like, bruh, you know that you can't just start rapping at 30. If you're really going to call yourself a rapper, rap. Right? Like a basic fucking
But unfortunately,
speech.
it's not like that.
Yeah,
Even,
no.
You know what?
Those are words of wisdom right
Because
there.
you know what happened, dude?
There's a thing here. You guys got to remember, in life, everyone has to go through some changes.
Yeah.
Like a journey.
Yeah.
What I'm saying
But-
is he's doing it now, but he also has bills to pay. He lives
Yeah,
at
but
home.
the
Yeah,
point
but-
is weirdly enough, to contradict the idea you're going with, he was right. Because you know what I did differently? I started trying. I started writing lyrics. I started looking for beat makers.
That's his fucking journey.
I started.
That's the journey that
creating
he's
it
going
from
on.
that point. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we're talking like 2012. Really, is when I started writing
How old were
tracks.
you in 2012 by chance?
24.
So you started your career at 24 then?
That could-
25. I would say I would start it when I was, I don't remember, 24, 25.
That piece of advice that your friend gave you though works for anything. You
It's
want to be
true.
an author, you
best
gotta
part-
write. You
Hold
gotta
on.
start
The
writing.
best part was when I kept throwing it back in his face years later.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's because actually hearing this, you're completely right. Because I remember one of the biggest people that I'm like in love with right now.
Oh,
is
thanks, Jay.
Not you, Action Bronson, and he only started rapping because he broke his leg.
He's
in a
he's
kitchen.
actually a huge inspiration to me.
Oh really?
I don't
love Fuck That's Delicious.
See, I'm not the biggest fan of his music
Oh, I love his music.
because I have a lot of trouble with the style per se.
The
but
only thing I don't like about him
his
is his
story
lyrics.
blows my fucking mind. Right?
Tell me his story. I don't know his
So
story.
He was
He's
like
a
a chef, and
Okay.
then at like 27, just started rapping.
Well, this is what happened.
Or
He
a
was
little bit
chef,
later.
and he got into
32,
a
I think
very
he blew
bad
up.
accident inside the kitchen where it caused him to break his leg. And
Oh, damn.
And I have the same experience as him because I broke my leg at a young age. But I was
And I'm a chef. Jesus.
So
I'm
what
not
happened
actually a
is
chef.
He broke his leg, and because of his weight, he wasn't able to do much. So what happened was he just said, "Okay, well, I like to rap. Why not start doing it?"
Okay.
And he started doing it, made a mixtape, launched it on, I think, on some free thing.
Yeah.
He got picked up.
He was
And
like,
then, out of nowhere, people found out, wait, you're a chef? And then he started doing little YouTube videos or something. And then Vice, he's like, you know what? You're fucking popping. Let's make a show.
Vice.
Vice.
I think I've heard him on Joe Rogan, man.
Bro, he...
If he's the one that I'm thinking of.
yeah, absolutely. You should
Yeah.
check out because what I think is
Favorite
most
thing.
incredible is his age of when he pops is like I think it was late 20s, early 30s, right?
Okay.
So at 25, it was like I don't think I knew who he was, but I started noticing more and more often. You're finding that a lot of these indie guys
Yeah.
don't start rapping or don't really start their
Well, that's
careers
the
until
best
their
thing
mid
about
20s.
SoundCloud. Like, I don't love SoundCloud, but I like it because, look, one of the rappers who I love to hate and love to love at the same time is Lil Yachty. How do you get famous? SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
We reviewed
Well,
Yachty.
I mean,
Yeah, that's the only one song I like, and it's the worst song ever. Peekaboo.
I think any free audio streaming platform helps a band or helps a
I think
audience.
if you really want to build your audience, there's one thing that it took me for years to get. So if you want to go back to whatever, I started writing and releasing erratically.
Yeah.
Big mistake. I spent all sorts of money on buying beats I never used or studio time.
Oh,
songs.
yeah.
And
So you
I
fell into
started
the buy the accessories before you're
like-
actually doing anything
not
kind of
necessarily
thing.
like that. I started making shit, which is good. It's where you start. But I had no plan. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was
No
kind
end
of
goal.
just making shit. And then I would pop off 6 songs or something over 5 months. Yeah, everything's going good. And then I'd be broke for a year. And then this would happen. Meanwhile, I performed a lot. Like, the highlight of my performing for actual accolades is through hip hop karaoke. I got to perform at Just for Laughs, which was cool.
Oh, really?
So Hannibal Buress.
What year?
The year before Hannibal Buress fucking destroyed Bill Cosby. So so 6 months before that, he was handing me a microphone on stage and talking about how I killed Party Up by DMX. But I'd done all sorts of little shows, little fucking 15-minute venues. I hosted that event where I was on a flyer that Jay was talking about in downtown Montreal.
Right.
And then I realized none of that was getting me anywhere.
And like now with his bowl cut and massive beard, he looked very good in the other poster.
That's just pure pure apathy, man. And then people started liking it, so now it's just like a fuck you to whatever.
Me, basically, because I just made fun of it.
Nah, I like it. You can make fun of it all you want. Girls like my beard.
Fuck you to
so
the
the beard's the only thing that's saving you right now.
my hair is fine. I can gel it. If we're not on camera, I don't have to look nice.
I've done podcasts with you. I haven't seen you look nice yet.
Listen, I started gelling my fucking hair, okay?
I want to see this. It's a lot of gel.
It's not that much to comb it back.
We're talking about cementing right now.
No, I stopped spiking it because it got too long. I
want to see that. I think that'd be the greatest thing ever.
I will when I perform.
Fuck, I'm just gonna throw balloons at him to watch him pop.
Oh God.
I don't know. All I can say is that. So I realized what I had to. I recorded an EP, and that was finished at the end of 2015. I put out the music video for my song "Jimmy Says," which is fun. And I don't know if you want to plug it. Plugging myself, play the song.
That's fine. Plug away. Okay, I'm gonna ask you for a list of everything you want to link at the end of the show, anyway. So
yeah.
Now, after listening a bit about your career and your aspirations, let's talk about your new venue source.
Yeah, podcasting. It ties into that. So I finished recording an EP and realized, holy shit, it's expensive to release an EP because you want to be independent. And then I started thinking about my next project, and I was like, holy shit, it's even more expensive. And everywhere I look, it's like the numbers are starting to get bigger. And I tried also, as a side note, I tried to play the corporate game, dude. I tried to go to work and up my salary. I got sizable raises compared to what others were getting, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I got to a decent number and realized that the number I had to get to would have taken me a decade because of just how fucked the corporate game really turns out to be, right? So I started podcasting. I built a studio in my apartment. It was like a condition of getting the place. Must have a studio room. And I talked about it for ages. Nobody believed me. Everyone made fun of me a bit. I started buying the pieces via Amazon Prime. Best $80 ever.
Yep, I have it.
We actually did the same.
So good. And then piece by piece. And we started actually recording the podcast a little bit because...
What was your first episode? First review?
It wasn't
Headspace. A full album review.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was it Eminem's song that he...
Yeah, so what happened is my boss kind of pissed me off a bit. They didn't believe I had the ability to grow a channel. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Anybody can do this.
Right. And so because they didn't believe me, and I had just like taken a vacation and spent a week studying content marketing videos and shit like that. Lynda.com if you want to check it out. Trial hop, dope shit. So I learned a whole bunch of stuff. I was ready to pop off, trying to like work it into my work life. They're like, you have no experience. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I said. So I within 2 weeks had gotten together with the two people I'd collaborated with on my EP, Chris Crum and Damon Kala, who are both friends outside of life. Chris, I'm trying to turn into my little hype man, little rapper dude, and Damon and I have just been friends for ages. And we got together in my apartment with like the shitty little fucking Blue Ice microphone I ended up regifting to Chris Crum. And we recorded the first fucking episode. We did not use Audacity because I do have access to better equipment, like program-wise through it. Right. I'm allowed to do this cleanly. I can use it to make my own stuff because I just get better at the work stuff by getting better at the life stuff. Okay. And we recorded an aimless
Which
fucking...
programs do you use? So maybe we'll...
I would check out Reaper if you're an indie person. They have like a little indie person license for $60. And then if you're a corporation, $300-$400. So... if you do want to get started, I mean, I'm certain it's more like 100 now because of inflation and shit. But if you do want to get started, it's
I checked recently. It was $60.
Hey, perfect. Yeah. Like, that shit.
Costa's on top of his shit.
Like, if you want to make beats, it's probably maybe not the best thing for you. But if you want to record like a podcast or something like this, it's just easier to use than the bullshit known as Audacity, which I'm grateful. I learned how to do a lot on Audacity when I was making my own songs for a bit and trying to do some stuff. But like, honestly, having a good sound engineering software for something like this, just having something that's easy to use when you're editing will take your total editing time and cut it in half. And then you can just produce a lot more. So it's important to invest in that shit. And the same thing, I use some iSky soft video editor, which recently got rebought out. It's like $100, right? A one-off buy. And you can just edit any video. We use OBS to fucking capture it. Now, we didn't do all this at first. We only went video on our 10th episode, right? So we just kind of started. Our first episode was a random-ass conversation. I have no idea what it was about. And then we talked about Eminem's bullshit song.
I'm trying to remember what you talked about. I don't remember either,
What's
actually.
interesting is we launched our first episode while these boys over here were at episode, like they had launched episode 2 of their thing when
Yeah, we
our
started
first
around the
project,
same time.
the Headspace podcast. The same week that you guys did episode 2, we did episode 1 in mid-November. I know for the channel was created for me November 14th too. So yeah, this is really recent. Like just over 6 months I've been doing this.
Right.
Then we did it weekly. And then January rolled around, and I'm like, it's going to take too long. So we went video, and at the exact same time, I expanded, and we started the Classic Quest, which is a kind of an excuse to go listen to old rap albums I've never listened to before.
That's really good. I like that. I think that's one of the channels I should get into more. And I like one of your co-hosts. She's really nice.
Yeah, she's awesome. She is somebody who I adore.
Who is she?
She's my lady friend. She sleeps with me and stuff.
I
Good
was looking
times.
for a name, but alright.
Oh yeah, Bonnie.
There you go.
Right, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
And so she, I conned her into it. She wasn't actually part of it. It was just me and Chris Chrome at first. And then
Thank God Bonnie's on it.
I absolutely actually. And then I posted on
The hate.
Facebook.
I don't hate
Who
this.
wants
Just
to-
I know.
That's true. And then, well, she made it way better. And then I posted that week on Facebook, who wants to review rock albums like Weezer? And then some guy who will just not directly name answered. He was involved for a while. He left. Now Jay's replacing him. So Jay's been involved in this for a few weeks now. And
Yeah, and you guys are
that
good
one
together.
is rock
You're doing
albums that we
pretty
started.
well.
So at the same time I started both those extra shows. You know why?
I'm trying to get him to do
Because
country
I've been trying
next.
to tell Costa all about this. It's all about frequency on YouTube, at least, right?
Yeah.
So I understand the SEO game a little bit better, and it's a big experiment to just try to get organic traffic to the
Actually, I have
channel.
a question about the podcast because I want
Yo.
to get you on air now. So let's say we get to a week and there's nothing on, but rock is a very general thing. Will we ever do a country rock album?
Country rock?
Honestly,
Wait, country rock? Like who?
I don't know.
Tim McGraw, motherfuckers.
I wouldn't be opposed to a Tim McGraw. It's just there'd really have
Georgia
to be
line.
like fucking nothing else for me to want to do it.
Well, let's talk. Hold on. In the upcoming future, we got Nickelback this week, so come and listen to that.
Yeah,
and
but
then
you
we
see,
got the 2 weeks
I
after
don't
that.
fucking
we got
hate-
Victory for Jay.
Victory for
Yeah,
Jay?
Jay's just trying to push for shit. All I'm telling you is if Manson drops an album out of nowhere, we're reviewing that. I
It's
don't
okay,
care.
but I'm just saying Coldplay and Imagine Dragons.
We'll see.
Oh, that's what you're doing?
I don't want to. Oh, that sounds bad to me. It's not bad. I
That's
don't
funny.
like Nickelback because it's fucking.
Nickelback.
It's not that it's bad. I love Silver Side Up. I think that album's great. I think How You Remind Me, Too Bad, all that shit was really great, honestly. But then
see
the next album was the same, and the next album was the same.
Yeah.
And all that changed was it was more and more songs about sex.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Well,
like
That's
that.
probably where all the hate came from because every sound just sounds
Remember when he
like
made
the
song,
same.
Photograph?
Yeah.
And then he made
What
another
is
song exactly the
Photograph?
sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then he made the stupid music video for the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Basically, the
Hero.
same song was a
It-
bit more faster.
Yep.
It's the same song.
I agree.
It's
I
just
agree.
His voice. You know what the problem is? It's his voice range doesn't change.
You
Anyways,
know,
you'll hear all
I got to
this during the
disagree
podcast.
with that, right? Like, I think like the Seether dude is the same voice and prove there's more you can do with the voice than what Chad Kroger does. But Chad Kroger writes songs for middle-aged housewives and taking chicks to show up at the show and get all hot and bothered by the safe but dangerous lyrics he offers them that the radio pumps down their heads.
The safe but
Oh, but
dangerous
when he made that
lyrics.
song,
Which one?
for the Sochi Olympics, and he did like "Burn It to the Ground." That was a great song.
I don't know. I didn't even hear it. At that point, it's not that I don't care about them. They have never really captured my imagination.
But that's
since
the
I
great
was
thing
13.
about the podcast world when you're reviewing is you're putting yourself out there. That's why I like when I first started doing it. I'm not gonna lie. The first week I did it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because I did the Logic thing with you guys, and I was like,
Yeah.
Then I did okay. You know what, Jay? Let's be open. And I did. Seether was the first album, right?
Yeah,
so, yeah.
that was
And
the
then I
first
like,
one you
"Yeah, This
recorded.
is fun. I was never really into rock as much. I would listen to one or two songs.
Yeah.
And then, let's be honest. Everybody listens to fucking AC/DC and all that.
Yeah.
Everybody does. If you
I
say you
find
don't,
that
you're
classic
fucking
rock.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan because their
I'm not
bass
saying
lines
you're-
are fucking boring. But otherwise, yes, I get
Well,
you.
it was a simpler time too.
Like the bass lines are like do 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 do.
Yeah, but it was a simpler time back then.
That's like the whole fucking bass line.
Angus Young is an amazing guitarist.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
drums
but
and guitars are
he's
all
talking
great,
about
but
the
I'm a
bassist.
bass
What's the
guy.
bassist's name? Exactly.
Nobody-
Exactly.
Nobody knows the bass's name of anything.
John Bonham. We know him.
I don't know who he is.
I know.
You don't know he's the bassist for Led Zeppelin.
I don't know.
I knew that.
Never, see, that's
my
one band
dad's a
I
big
was-
Zeppelin fan.
Paul McCartney. We all know Paul McCartney.
Go fuck
Was he the bassist? Didn't they all kind of like musical swap and like everybody?
He played bass for the
Honestly, They
Beatles.
pulled Train on Yoko Ono, so that's the only thing I have to say.
I don't know about.
I don't know about that.
They pulled Train.
I don't know. I
Costa,
feel like
yes.
everyone hated Yoko except
That's
for
why
John
they pulled
Lennon.
the train
And look where John Lennon is now.
because they pulled
Dead.
the train.
I don't even know how to
He's
respond
dead.
to that part. This is the part of their podcast where I'm like, what the fuck are they saying?
They always need that.
This shit kind of just happens.
I suppose
you know,
you could go, why the hell not?
I see what you did there.
So yeah, now the podcast is really actually the channel's growing for real. Like,
Well, that's why we have decided like in the upcoming future, people are going to see a lot of changes, and I'm looking forward to that. We're eventually going to go with the video for YouTube, so
You need it.
you're going to catch my beautiful face more.
you should see it.
So,
I think honestly, I was after doing stuff with you and realizing I
You
really
made it sound
feel-
like we did sex stuff. That's gross,
No, we
Jay.
haven't. Yeah, that's the plan. End goal.
all of HSR's podcasts have video. We
Oh no.
no,
all
yeah.
but 9.
all but 9 episodes. Yeah, but
And a couple were I did Let's Plays that were really kind of shitty. 'Cause,
what's your YouTube? It's Behind That Suit.
hold up. In about 5 subscribers, I can get the actual channel / behind that suit. But it's behind that suit. That. Like,
Wait,
not
why
this.
/ behind that suit? Oh, as
Custom
your URL? Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes 100 subscribers.
Interesting.
And today we got this awesome comment from some guy. Why the hell don't you have more than 94 subscribers? But
Where was this?
On the Eminem Marshall Mathers LP review I did for the Classic Quest where all the true love comes, because that's my favorite. It's the most fun for me, actually,
How
because
dare you?
new rock is hit or miss, and
How
new
dare
rap is
you?
hit or miss. And Jay,
dare you?
you're very fun, but Eminem, the Marshall Mathers LP
Go fuck
versus
yourself.
Wolves. By
Wait, hold on. You said that new rock, new rap,
right.
very hit or miss, you said. But, like, let's be real. You're looking at it in retrospect. You're only getting the good ones.
That's the point. Okay, but to be fair about the Classic
There were a lot of bad ones there, too.
Listen,
That's something to do with
1980s
bad
hip hop might be quite talented, but it is fucking aloof and hard to listen to.
No, I agree. Like,
we've
there's a
done
lot of
stuff
shit out
like
there today. I'm just
80s,
saying
like,
that there was shit out there
Hey,
back then.
motherfuckers.
Not quite yet, but like I'd say Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full we've done, Slick Rick's
I
album.
can't stand Slick Rick.
But like that's the kind of stuff we started with, and then we done some 90s stuff. We
I have a
actually...
request.
What?
I want you to do some Nate Dogg.
Nate Dogg's solo album's bullshit. We're not going to review it.
Oh, shit.
Like, honestly, no.
Wow.
Guys.
No, look, the idea is to go after what are like really great albums.
This is
and-
what I'm going to say. Classic Quest, you're awesome because of Bonnie, but everyone else...
Nate
in there,
Dogg
fuck off.
was the best chorus guy. So will we review albums with Nate Dogg on it? Yes. Are we going to review his only solo album? Probably not.
Classic.
To you, sir. Like, I'm sorry. I don't. It's not even like he's not a rapper.
Why
He's
did we
a
ask him to be a
fucking.
guest
He's an
again?
R&B. He's fuck off. Jim.
That's what everyone says to me.
But yeah, no.
Look at my bottle.
So yeah, I think next thing is going to be De La Soul's 3 Feet and Rising or something like that.
Woo!
Because that's the goal. Is to
Doesn't
go
sound
through
like you're interested in that, Jay.
I'd rather listen to the Marshall LP, to be honest.
Here's the thing about these ones that I'm watching with the web traffic. When you do the new ones, they've only got buzz for about 2-3 months.
Oh, you're 100% right.
And then they just kind of like fizzle away, right? So if you are
what's
going to
your
get
most
into
viewed
it,
CD?
it's currently MGK. But that was a weird fucking anomaly, and it just kind
MGK
of...
is like...
Yeah.
MGK is blown up. Like, I'm sorry, MGK to me is the attention whore everybody wants to be.
He kind of made an album to me that sounded like that, so I'll give it to you. And it's
No,
getting
I'm not talking about the
dislikes.
album. I'm talking
I
about what
read
he
a
does,
little
his
thing.
gimmicks. He's like he took Kid Rock shit, and then he went extra.
Nah,
that
I'm
song,
gonna have
American
to.
Badass?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that because MGK's older
You know
career.
who that is?
I have no
Machine
idea
Gun
who
Kelly.
these people are.
I would say
okay.
he had.
Still don't know. Still
Like
don't
you
know.
could make that claim about Yellow Wolf, and
Oh, he's a pain
I would.
ass.
I love Yellow Wolf. He's my like one of my faves. But I would say like you could say that about him, but MGK took a
MGK
whole
he gets, like-
different direction
He'll
with
get,
music.
Little people out of nowhere, he'll have a random song or a concert. He'll pay little people to twerk, and I'm just like, why?
Like,
Because
midgets.
No,
Because
let's be
Bad
perfectly
Boy
honest, little people.
Entertainment-
I watch a lot
But
of shows-
you're talking about midgets, right?
I'm not gonna say
just
that
to like add some context.
I'm just curious.
When you're signed to Puff Daddy's record label, you don't always have creative control over those types of things.
I don't know. Well, I kind of see him into that.
Like, there's a song that MGK has, right?
Okay,
and, like, Puff Daddy's featured on it, like, We Are the Champions or whatever. And it's just Puff Daddy fucking screaming on the intro. MGK does the song, and Puff Daddy screaming on the outro, like he does.
For every single thing. Have you not
Like,
watched
if you listen to
the movie
Ocho
Endeavours?
Cinco with...
I actually love that song.
I love that song, too. It's weirdly enough. I think
Because
it's
it's a
pretty
party
good.
song. It's a
But then
perfect
you
party
get
anthem.
to the end when Puff Daddy just hijacks the mic.
Ocho Cinco.
No. But the end where it's like I'm a motherfucking living legend. Because hear me out. There's some like deep thought I put into this. The previous four guys wrote eloquent verses about receiving fellatio from the fine ladies they're trying to get fellatio from, right?
Or,
And then
wait, I'm trying to find a ghetto way to say it. Like, she sucked my dick and
giving
I'm
me head.
yeah. I don't know.
fellatio. We'll
Yeah.
we'll stick with that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Puff Daddy comes in with this out of place, different beat verse saying, "I'm the best." Now, no one else was saying they were the best. They were saying
he kind of couldn't say that because like he's done a
But my
lot.
point is that why isn't he writing a verse here about
doesn't
getting
have
his
to.
dick sucked like everyone else to make the song a proper
Because
dick sucking
everybody
type
else
song?
has to say they're getting their dick sucked. With P Diddy, he doesn't have to. It's him.
It's just
It
awful.
just happens. He
There's
just
no
needs to whip it out.
congruency. It's terrible shit.
Let's
It
just
was-
be honest. Eventually, when you get to a certain level of fame, you can just whip out your dick and grab her by the pussy.
I gotta be honest with you. You know, as a person that doesn't listen to rap very often,
I'm terribly bored with this conversation.
no. That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that song sounds horrible.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, it's so bad.
Go for lyrics.
But
it's the
then
dumbest song
you
ever.
put it on a bunch of times, and you're like, Ocho
like that
Cinco,
techno.
that's a head banger.
You know techno and dance and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it
Listen,
because I'm
it's
forced to know
exactly
it.
like
Costa,
that.
Costa,
Yeah.
we got to get you drunk at a place with strobe lights and have this play while a girl is
We did
shaking her
that.
booty.
We did that in my room.
Yeah.
Then the song makes sense
With
for
the
about
strobe
5
lights.
minutes, and it's got to have strobe lights for that
And that's
song.
what I did. I bought a little strobe light. So
So
when
when you
I'm
got to do that like
intoxicated
shoulder dance thing, like
with
see?
Juicy J days.
Jay knows what's up.
Oh
Sorry,
God.
Juicy J is my favorite rapper, and I know he's the worst rapper.
Juicy J is a really bad rapper to have as your
really
favorite
great.
rapper.
Juicy J sounds like he stole the name from you, Jay.
Oh, Juicy J just sounds like you roll some juicy fucking J's.
That's exactly it.
Ah, that's what it
He's
is.
from 3-6 Mafia. He's like basically old school rap royalty,
I see.
and he finally blew up because he makes party rap.
Okay.
See, that's the difference. Rap has a
Basically-
lot of branches.
Yeah.
Okay, like it is. Yeah, he sold out and got paid.
He didn't
Yeah.
sell out. He was always that.
Well, that's the
I
dream,
don't
isn't
think
it?
that Juicy J was whatever
He
the
was
fuck he
always like
was
that.
on that Katy Perry Dark Horse song.
Oh, he was.
Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. He's so bad that
Juicy.
he's so good.
So bad that he's what?
He's so bad that he's so good.
Ah,
It's one of those things like I can't believe I like this. but
it's
I love
like
it.
it's like a nice chocolate cake. You know
Well,
it's
no,
bad, but you
know why
still
you
want
like a
it.
chocolate cake. You don't know why you like Juicy. No, that's not true. I like 3-6 Mafia though a lot more than I like Juicy J. I mean,
I bumped their shit like Stay Fly or Stay High, whatever it was called.
you should just Google like pictures of Juicy J with his Academy Award.
Oh my god! That remember every song Academy Award with us. Academy Award with us. Every
Why,
song.
why did he win
And
an
then we got
Academy
that
and
cell
You
phone.
award?
know it's hard out here for a pimp. When you try,
Hustle and
Dude,
Flow?
yeah, Hustle and Flow, dude. If you haven't seen that
it's
movie,
an
Damn.
Academy Award movie
Yeah.
with Terrence Newman or something.
Okay.
and it was like so they wrote the song "Hard Out Here for a Pimp," which was performed by Terrence Howard throughout the movie. But dude, it's a fucking jam.
Okay.
It's like, and it fits the movie
But
like
when
really
he raps,
perfect.
It's not like, to be honest, it's just the chorus that's awesome.
Okay.
I don't agree. I like the verses
Yeah.
on that
At
one.
the end of the day, you don't. Agree
That's
with
okay
anything.
though. That's fine.
Jay,
I like
that's
I like
because-
this disagreeing.
Because your opinion is like, I'm gonna be a fluffy hater, so it's fickle. And
I'm not
I'm
being a
like,
fluffy hater, I'm being honest.
consistency
I'm
up
being
in
the
his
everyman.
G heart of
No,
you.
maybe he just really only likes the chorus. You know,
No,
it's
a great
possible.
chorus, though. But I also like the verses. I like the beat is so well made. But it ended up taking home Academy, like an Academy
The
Award.
best theme song.
And you gotta imagine that 3-6 Mafia.
First ever to do it like that.
Oh yeah.
I think they were the first group in hip hop to win an Academy Award.
You'll never. I probably won't see
Not
that
the
again.
first solo rapper. Because
Okay.
no, first solo. Both Lauryn Hill and Eminem have achieved. No, not Lauryn Hill. Eminem has definitely done it before 3-6 Mafia because but that's solo rap act, and he did it with Lose Yourself.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I can see it now. I know.
And then there's at least something from the 90s or early 2000s.
Oh wait a minute, it might be the Fresh Prince. Oh, I think he was the first ever to win a Grammy.
No.
Because I know
I'm
his
pretty
album
sure
won a rap album of the year.
I know Aliens won a Grammy. Like there was an Outkast album that did really well.
Outkast is amazing.
Lauryn Hill's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
You were talking about that with me, but like
Will swept everything.
Andre 3000 is probably the best rapper alive.
If Andre 3000 ever wrote some solo CDs, I'd say he's a contender for the greatest of all time. But because he's never done it solo, it's hard to call him that.
He came out one year when everybody was making those party songs. Like I would have to go back to the year exactly.
Right.
But there was like all these stupid songs like "Do Your Chain Hang Low" and stupid shit. And he took their beats and he wrote intelligent lyrics.
Here's the
and
thing:
he just destroyed.
Andre 3000.
Is that how he got popular? Like,
dude,
Outkast.
You don't remember Outkast?
Hey.
Oh, okay. Why? That's him.
Jackson. Ooh,
oh, he's on that. Like,
he's a part of
Dude,
the band.
oh, he's part of the band. Okay.
He's one of the two guys.
I actually like that song. I know that's one of the only rap songs I know.
But it's mad brilliant. Yeah. Like these guys are like top tier rappers.
And they're coming out. Big Boy's coming out with a CD.
We're reviewing it for Headspace, as far as I'm concerned.
That's good.
So interesting. I don't know when that I'm gonna listen to it.
And Outkast just came back last year or 2 years ago.
Well, no, that's an aloof statement. They performed together. That's not the same thing as coming back.
Oh, okay.
They are definitely not back. Like, honestly,
it's like the Beatles.
I don't even know.
It's like the Beatles when they performed on the roof, you know?
I listen. Okay, that's a problem with my with the way I am now. I'll actually listen for the lyrics. Back then, I just listened for the listening.
Even if you're listening, so Speaker Box, Big Boy's album, rap album.
Yeah.
Andre 3000's The Love Below is more or less Lil Yachty without auto-tune.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you can see how even at that point they're at very different places musically. And then they did their Idlewild thing where everybody loved the music in the movie, but nobody liked the album they released to go with it because it didn't sound like the movie once. Mm-hmm. And then they did nothing Maurice together ever since.
Hold on, but you know what? Andre 3000 was what Kanye West is now. Back then, he tried to be.
I think honestly, he's more like a Young Thug, the Lil Yachty type. Like, I'm
not talking about rap. I'm talking about like the,
fashion. And,
that's exactly it.
Because Erykah Badu is the one who was fucking Andre for a while. She's like the one Miss Jackson's about. Is the one who compared Young Thug's latest album cover, where he got made fun of for looking gay or whatever, to an Andre 3000 type thing. And
but Andre 3000's always been like
that
very, very strange.
Right.
He doesn't care. You know, here's a perfect example. Remember the guy who used to came out in every video, he would dance, he's really thin, and he would hold the umbrella?
Nope.
No.
I would have to find him to show you. Anyways.
I can't say that I do.
I'm going to send you pictures tonight.
All right.
Anyways, that guy. And Andre would have him, and they would be together always in the video. I honestly, at one point, I thought Andre 3000 was maybe gay. I honestly thought at one point. Or bi. And I won't be surprised if one day...
Maybe bi. I mean, it's possible.
I really think he's... I remember I was having battles with our friend Justin, because Justin used to love Lil Wayne. And this is one time when Lil Wayne was coming out with hits.
Justin who?
Peace.
Justin Peace, okay.
And Justin P loved Lil Wayne, and I'm like, Andre 3000 destroys him.
Yeah.
There's so many videos of Andre and him going, like, people making...
Listen, you just gotta listen to that Andre 3000 feature next to Tech 9 on the Wayne album and be like, murked it.
I know. The guy, anytime the guy goes on anything, he just destroys it.
Destroys it.
Anyways, so enough with our hip-hop and everything. We're going to take a little quick break and come back.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Do we actually take breaks here?
Yes, we do.
This isn't like a fake break, like on our podcast. No, I'm kidding.
No, I actually have to take a piss.
Okay, see ya.
Jimmy says he needs a little help. He's like he's by himself. It seems no one else is willing to help him out. Jimmy tells me all the things he sees. Don't break his spins. Spins his payably with all businesses. He got what he needs me. Jimmy explained he's an entrepreneur. His name is ton of manure. Can't help me hit this for sure. Can you believe that the wicked can dream? Is it the high that can see this thing can really achieve? Jimmy told me he can no longer function. This culture structure hit up until his next junction. So we won't jump in. Have this progression stunned in. And I'm stuck with all of these fucking corrupt friends. Jimmy stayed his delegate. He's not ready yet, but his path is not dead. I'ma teach him to no longer regret, because Jimmy's my brother. I will never forget Jimmy's got my back and that honest and dead. When I listen to all of the things Jimmy says, the words listen, now the small things I no longer dread. Sun is shining and nobody is feeling sad. Together even if we form our last stand. Me and Jimmy now taking over this world. with birds and shut underneath the fucking pile. Jimmy puts with me to bleed dry. Negativity invested, credibility in a reflection that is really clean. She explains we need to escape, run away, button and be time upgrade to a better class in space. That's okay, Jimmy's here to stay. Either way, Jimmy gives me the ring that the shape of the range will make a place in its way. Jimmy's getting games and I'm never even getting one. Jimmy's getting laid and I'm fretting with frustration. Jimmy's getting paid and stressed and broke as fuck, yo. Jimmy gets his way and rest the shit out of luck. I'm sick of the Jimmy's success, I've invested in thoughts, expected to be the best. He serves as the best, will improve at every test. Jimmy gets strength when I'm unable. Jimmy's afraid with a rich and protect. Jimmy cashes the checks like a message Jimmy collects. When I listen to all of the things Jimmy says, the words listen, now the small things I no longer dread. Sun shining and nobody is giving head. Together even if we fall on our last stand. Me and Jimmy are taking over this world. I'm packing the brains, Jimmy brings the verbal. Combining ideas like collective cerebral. Jimmy and I, the place where you meet zero. So the other day, Jimmy began to say, talk me, but the place the same level. And I'm tired again, engaging amazing things, always the same things. I gotta get for the doctor, son of a child, consistently right. I reach for the cracks, the question, where the fuck Jimmy's at? Relax, blind, exposed, his clothes dope, I told poster a hole. I know, Jimmy, they give us a show. So it's no longer a matter of faith, whether it's grounded in stage, we're rounded in faith, that's not what's at stake. You may translate the transcribe and interpretation. Jimmy's my muse, a source of confused inspiration. I stand by every letter of all that I'm dictating. So what? If Jimmy's name was everybody hating, instead of shedding, Jimmy is afraid I'm gonna live up to a new end. I remain mesmerized by all the bullshit Jimmy says. When I listen to all of the things Jimmy says, the words listen, now the small things I no longer tread. Sun shining and nobody is feeling sad. Together even if we fall on our last stand. Me and Jimmy are taking over this world. I'm packing the brains, Jimmy brings the verbal. Combining ideas are collective cerebral. Jimmy and I, the place where you meet zero. When I listen to all of the things Jimmy says, the words listen, now the small things I no longer tread. Sun shining and nobody is feeling sad. Together even if we fall on our last stand. Me and Jimmy are taking over this world. I'm packing the brains, Jimmy brings the verbal. Combining ideas are collective cerebral. Jimmy and I, the place where you meet zero.
So me and Jay went on a walk the other day, right?
Kinky.
Yeah.
It was actually not. It was very fun.
We had a lot of
Costa's been
fun.
trying to get me to do more active things, and I'm like, one day I'm like, why not? He came with me to go get eye drops, which I couldn't get. Fucking asshole. Pharmacist.
Yeah, pharmacist, not me. It's not my fault you didn't get your... Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to fuck us.
Yeah, that too.
And then we were walking, and we by the water in LaSalle with the boulevard.
Yeah, LaSalle Boulevard, yeah.
We started from the ice cream shop there on...
I don't know what street it was, fuck. It's close to Shevchenko, that's all I
So
know.
we went to the place.
Yeah, we went to the place.
We walked all the way
Place.
to Verdun,
We walked back.
and then we walked back. And what we were noticing is, like, at one point we were passing this volleyball court, okay?
Yeah.
And we see, like, maybe a group of 5 kids, 4 kids, whatever, playing volleyball. But then
Every other
the
kid.
other kids on their cell phone are sitting down or they're looking for Pokemon Go stuff. And I just came up...
We don't even know if they were... We were talking
No,
about
some kids
Pokemon
were
Go,
talking about- I
but...
know what you're talking about. I saw some kids playing Pokemon
Okay.
What's wrong with
All
Pokemon
right.
Go?
Nothing's wrong with Pokemon Go.
Either way, they were
Right.
on their cell phones
They
instead
were-
of, like,
And I just
playing.
started thinking, it's like, I feel like the childhood of the North American child has started to disintegrate.
The childhood of the North
You
American
know,
child.
This
Well, I
is,
mean, children go through
historically
childhood.
documented fear over time.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't hear that.
It's a historically documented fear over time. Literally every generation looks at the next generation's childhood and has that feeling. And
I
this is
understand, but I'm just looking into a different, not a different way, but I see it more now.
I think
And
it's completely different to this generation,
Oh,
too.
100%.
Like,
you know
we got
like, look,
technology.
If we're all kids right now, and we don't have the mentality we have now, and I come to you like, I got the new Nintendo Switch, and we're gonna play Zelda. You know, and most likely all of us are gonna say, "Fuck, I'm down." But
Yeah.
if my parents came to us and said, "Hey, your parents just dropped off your bikes. Jay's, here's your bike. Let's all go for a nice bike ride." Unfortunately, I would believe we would play Nintendo Switch over the bike ride.
Yeah, but that wasn't any different than me growing up.
I agree, and that's my caveat too. I played a lot of video games.
We're part of that generation.
I would say that we are not the same thing as the kids you're describing. We're the same thing as the kids in Sejap today, and we're not the same generation. And it has to do with like that
what
idea.
What is the generational skip? How long? What's the age for generation?
It's 18 to like 35 is millennial, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was 84. If you were born 84 to
like 2000 or
2000, I think it was.
Okay, so I'll say our generation was the beginning of the
beginning of the end. No.
I don't want to say that. I really want to say that.
Yeah.
See, interestingly enough, I like to I've been looking into this subject a bit.
I look at it too because
it's a
of my weight.
fascinating thing, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I found was this fascinating quote from like 1812 or some shit like that, describing the telegram.
All right.
Okay.
And I can't remember it.
Damn.
But it had something along the lines of, what are these kids up to delivering their information so quickly via the telegram? It's like, oh my God, we'll never have a face-to-face conversation again. And I gotta say, this is like 150 fucking years ago-ish, whenever the telegram came out. And this was the same commentary that motherfuckers are giving about cell phones today. And then to counter that point, if you really look back in time, a lot of people will talk about like how you used to sit in cafes and shit, and I would counter with we used to sit in cafes and ignore each other with different things.
Yeah, newspapers.
Saying, let's say this. Before,
yeah,
I remember
books.
as a kid getting up,
right,
and I would bike over to my friend John's house.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, "Hey, John, let's go." But here's the funny part: at least I biked there to go get him and.
Okay.
We came back here to play Zelda the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Holden, how many times did I go over to your house or you came over to my house? We played video games, right?
Sim Town. The only time
oh my God, those Sim City games. Sim Town, Sim City, Sim Ant.
Did you call them on the phone? Or did you
no, mommy or daddy would drive us over because...
You guys live further.
Yeah, we don't have that luxury. Like, I have to say, like, the ability for kids to be allowed to go bike from A to Z no longer exists.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that my mom keeps saying.
On my parents' generation, the 80s adults, and stranger danger. And if you... Okay, do you remember the crazy clown fad that happened recently?
Yeah, it was fucking...
Oh, yeah, where people were dressed up as clowns and,
like,
scaring people.
Where this came from. And it turns out it's tied into the 1980s crazy... clown fucking thing. And then that led to specifically the idea of kidnappings and stranger dangers, which was these clowns of the 80s.
Well, there was a lot of things in the 80s where a lot of kidnapping with kids in the States.
Yeah, and there was all the clowns and shit that happened, and the clowns really drove home fear.
Milk carton,
one of the biggest ones
babies.
was the Baby Ruth.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that kind of turned into this paranoia of talking to strangers. So like our parents grew up in a point where you could see a girl and talk to her and that was legit.
Right.
We've grown up in a don't talk to strangers mentality. But then it's gone like 10 steps further. Now you're a negligent fucking parent and social services will come and fucking take your kid away if you let them unsupervised along in the wrong way.
Yeah, but that you're generalizing there. Before. You're generalizing because there were negligent parents throughout history too, you know? But do you think there's more now?
Is that they're not negligent parents. I'm saying that if you were to
Which one?
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, you live up in the back of like fucking Côte Saint Luc where my grandma used to live and shit. It's all safe out there, right? So
it's,
you could like...
Well, actually, a couple of years ago, did you hear about this? The fucking old man started he threatened a hydro worker.
Yeah. But
and then there was a huge stakeout outside his house. I couldn't get home. It was so fucking annoying.
But I guess where I'm going with that is it really depends on your neighborhood.
Yeah.
But let's say if you grew up somewhere like that, you let your kid play outside and you don't have to supervise them because it's considered safe.
Right,
where I'm going with it, just to answer his question about like negligence, I'm not saying that parents are more negligent, but what we were allowed to do on your street as a kid is no longer allowed to be done, let's say, unsupervised. Whereas now, like the rules around how careful you have to be as a parent today are extremely unfair to parents, almost to a point where kids are almost like chattel.
There's a thing.
I agree.
The difference between then and now is technology.
Well, that's a huge thing that we got to take into account. Yeah.
Because I'll give you an example. I was on you know how I am on Facebook.
Oh, I know how you are on
Facebook,
I
send a lot
motherfucker.
Of disturbing shit to my friends.
Yes, you do.
I saw one of these videos recently where a woman let her daughter out of her car.
Okay.
And she's with her boyfriend or father or husband, and he's smoking, and they're all smoking, and this guy's just like, that's very bad. Like, I understand you want to smoke. Why don't you wait for your daughter to come out? It's like, it's my fucking daughter, I can raise her. It's like, but people back then did this. Like, smoking was more acceptable way back, right?
Yeah.
So, just because now you got to be careful for everything. Now you could have a guy across the street looking into my room right now, and let's say I had a gun, and he's really nervous, and he snaps a picture, and he sends this to the police. I don't know where the police will come. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, there's a video of you cleaning your gun. Do you have permits? I don't imagine I didn't.
Well, then you shouldn't have a gun.
You shouldn't have a gun then.
Canada, it's not the USA. We don't have a right to bear arms.
But that's a good example, though. Like, let's
say, but how does that, like, I'm just curious, how does that, like, compare to, like, children who don't necessarily have the same kind of rules around them? I can see how, at that point, technology creates a certain level of supervision in and of itself, but then it proves that you as the parent are being negligent if you're not being the best parent
what's
ever.
the level of negligence? Like, at the end of the day, you need to let your child have a bit of freedom.
But you're not allowed to, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't agree with that. I think it's just all a perspective of how you see it. Like, if I let my child, obviously I'm not going to let my 6-year-old go ride his bike down the street.
But what I'm saying is when we were kids, the 6-year-old could ride down the street and that was still okay. The 4-year-old couldn't, but the 6-year-old would be allowed up to the block and back, and if you didn't leave there, that was okay.
I still believe
and
that the 6-year-old... what I'm trying to say is, I still believe the 6-year-old is able to go up the street and back on the sidewalk with his bike. I still think we're allowed. We still do it. I'm saying now that children don't do it because they have the option with technology. They'll do other things.
I think
that they choose to be more sedentary than.
But I don't know that. Okay, so when you really hear about it, I think this has a lot to do with where you live. So no, hear me out. Where I am,
North America,
city versus rural. What part of the city you're in?
I could believe that
because I live in apartment buildings with no backyards and shit. You can't just play outside. That means
go to a park, which I'm pretty sure you have parks.
Which means that as a parent, when now everybody's working 2-income households and shit, which is a huge transition point from back in the day. It's a bigger ordeal to actually get your kids outside to play than it would have been. Even just 20 years ago, just based on housing developments and all that other shit.
It's the fault of the government for not creating enough parks for around them?
No, I think it's just a unique challenge that we're facing where, unfortunately...
But also, it also comes up to an age thing. It's like, okay, now let's say the issue
here's another... You actually just made me think of it. It comes down to dual... You want to blame the government, it would have to do with the money situation.
I'm not blaming the government.
Because the big transition would be that back in the day, chances are, in most cases, a parent would be home, and now no parent is home. And if a parent would be around...
parents back in the day still work 2 jobs.
Maybe not as much.
Maybe there's a giant increase, obviously.
And it's a huge, almost to a point where you almost don't have parents who have 2-income households. At least from this next generation, the ones who have kids in the parks today, not us, but like the next group down, it's almost impossible to raise a kid on like one job.
100%.
Let's go back to
goes into supervision and availability, right?
Let's go back to the technology though, because the point is still there that okay, sure, the kids are going to the park, okay,
hold on.
But then they're just standing next to each other and looking at their individual cell phones.
Costa, we did the same thing with Pokemon.
Yes.
We did it with cards.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure they did it with hockey cards.
But this is what the discussion is, right? This is what Jay brought up, right?
Do you guys remember those little jacks things where the kids would...
But the kid was playing. There was movement. Even though if it was bare minimum, there's a big difference from throwing a jack to fucking pushing a button.
No, but there's also another thing, right? There's the whole social issue behind the technology. Not issue, sorry, social component. The internet. We didn't have internet when we were playing games. When we played Pokemon, everyone was looking over our shoulder and we were talking to each other. These kids...
Catch that.
Yeah. These kids were like... They're on their own phone, on the internet, conversing, talking with people who aren't even there.
You know how many times me and you will meet up?
Right? So that's a big difference that they're not talking to each other.
But at the same time, I don't know that it's a terrible thing.
I think it is a terrible thing.
I think it's a terrible thing because parents don't understand the technology. No. And because parents don't understand the technology in a lot of cases, they don't really know what their kids are doing with it. And with restrictions, you can really curb your kid's ability to like fuck around like that.
I don't know, man.
At that point, what you're talking about.
There's fucking like adequate ways for parents to lock down their kids' device.
Do you really think that? The parents don't know? Like, the
Yes.
parents of,
A lot of
like,
parents
10,
I'm a technical
12-year-old
support
right
specialist.
now?
They know, but they're
Yes.
too lazy to do something about it.
Yes, I'm telling you, I really think that parents are that lazy when it comes to technology.
Okay, but is it lazy or ignorance?
Yes.
Both.
You trust me, anyone can learn, and if you choose not to, it's laziness.
Yeah, but what if they know? So are you saying that they don't know and they choose to be lazy? Or
I'm
no,
saying
no,
that
sorry.
they don't
That they
bother
know?
to stay informed about the things that their kids could be getting up to.
Okay.
They
But
rely on.
now kids can get kids make
Well,
let's say little
just
kids
look
get
at-
money, right? They can out and get their cell phones now themselves. They don't need
Hear
a
me
contract.
out. Take the idea
Well,
of just as an
that's
example
a
of
case to
parental
case.
responsibility. Why is it a school's obligation to teach safe sex? Shouldn't it be like a parent's job to have to
think
teach
it's
their
both.
kid? But my point is it's gotten to a point where the parents don't do it, and it's up to the school.
Well, because half the times the parents are like, from what you were saying, half the time the parents are working.
Right, but having a conversation about safe sex and taking your kid to a park are different things. But my point is, it's the idea behind it that it's the obligation of somebody else to stay informed on this shit. So I'm seeing trends, and I don't have a lot of hard data for this, but I'm seeing trends where it seems like parents are relying on other people to, like Ellen as an example, to tell them what the fuck's happening.
Oh, Ellen DeGeneres?
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres. Because you'll notice she'll like get you up to terms with the new hip shit, and you got to imagine if Ellen is teaching people at Netflix and Chills in 2016, real fact, she did that, and she thought that was breaking news. It just goes to show a bit of the disconnect in terms of the cultural understanding of the older generation.
Eventually, Netflix is going to be obsolete one day.
No, but the
There'll be
idea
another
of
thing.
just the term Netflix and chill is years old, and Ellen only jumped
Is it
on that.
though? I think
Yeah,
it's maybe
absolutely.
a year or two.
I've been using Netflix and chill as a pickup line for years. Before it was cool. It wasn't necessarily called Netflix. It was called something else, but
Yeah,
movie
okay,
and
but
chill.
that's a different story. It's like go to the movie
And
get
chill.
jerked off in a popcorn
And
box.
the word Netflix for at least a couple of years. Yeah, for sure. It's
Like,
fucking great.
Oh, that's it. I can see what you're talking about there.
So how about
But I'm saying is the cultural disconnect.
Costa?
Yeah, go on.
how about like so we like I said before, we used to go over to each other's house and play video games, right?
That happened.
Now they don't even go over to each other's house because they're playing online.
I don't think that's exclusively true.
No, I have cousins and young cousins. I'm like, hey, why don't you come and see your cousin? Come and
You
hang
know
out
what,
with me.
man? It's
Oh, we're
because
just playing online.
the problem is,
right?
is like it comes down to the parents again. I think.
My best friends
So-
from Surwa, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, sure, let's do something. He's like, I don't know, man. I want to play some. He's like, the first thing he'll say is, you want to play some Xbox? We'll play Overwatch. I'm like, how about you come over? We'll go do something. Now let's play Overwatch.
Which I get, but I think that this came from the fact that parents stopped having as much time to cater to their kids' social life.
But at a certain age, a child can get off his ass and go out.
Yeah, but at what age is that appropriate? Depending on how
Obviously, if the
far.
kid, that's all.
So we're talking like that means that
Well, the
good
variables all
chances
add up.
Under teenage years, you're probably not able to really go that far on your own.
Okay, so let's say we all
I'm saying
live in a
like
5 block
busing
area.
distances. I would have had to have bused to his house. It was only around 12. I would have been old enough, maybe 10, 11, to actually go there on my own, unsupervised,
But
and
let's
it'd
be
be
honest,
okay.
like most of the time when you're friends at a young age, your friends most of them, not all of them, live close to you.
Yeah, but that's still.
So if, like let's say we all live 5 blocks, we're all at
I think-
10 years old. And
I don't.
I really
like,
believe we
I
wanna
would
hang
say
out.
that that's not entirely a uniform thing. It also depends on where you come from. Like, look, my girlfriend comes from the country. All of her friends lived acres away,
Mm-hmm.
and so when you look at your circumstances, if you are unable to get to your friend's house until the age of 11, but most of your friends are coming from school at that age, not anywhere else. And school has a vaster block area per school district per se than the distance of 10 blocks, which could be a lot depending
But
on where
most of
you
the
are.
time, I will say that kids will find out. Like, if I found out Costa lived in, I'm sorry to say this, Costa lived in Côte Saint Luc and I lived here in LaSalle, and I probably wouldn't hang out with them.
Yeah,
I'd probably find a
because-
friend who lives closer.
Wow.
That's not entirely true.
It's the truth, though.
Because now what's happened is you would find out that you and Costa could hang out while playing Overwatch and shoot the shit.
Online, that's exactly what.
But that's the point, is because parents aren't able to fulfill the need.
I don't believe
Hear,
that.
hear me out though. So parents can't bring you to go hang out with Costa as frequently as they would have, let's say, 20 years ago.
Okay.
As a result, you still want to hang out with Costa.
He's
so we
your boy.
have the Xbox to talk.
And it's a solution that kids have almost come to rely on to a problem created by parent unavailability.
But I'm not okay. But hold on. You can also say, let's say Costa lives there, we play Xbox, but you live right next door. I could go hang out with you. And obviously, sometimes I want to hang out with Costa and play Xbox. I'm not going to say it's all the time, but sometimes I'm saying if you give them the option today, and I put down a game right now with a new system, and I put something really crazy outside fine. I believe the kid will choose to stay inside.
And you know why I played outside as a kid? The only reason I played outside because my parents made me. And I guarantee you that most kids only played outside because their parents made them.
Maybe in the beginning, but at the end when you.
But that's my point. So now that parents have to be invested a lot more in the forcing their kids to play outside, but they have less time to do it. I mean, it all boils down to the fact that parents aren't being given the time to fully parent their children, so kids are being left with entertainment as babysitting.
Even if they had all this opportunity with the parent and the parents forcing
this shit does not happen as what you're describing with rich parents in the suburbs where one of the moms is off because all the kids is up in activities all the time.
No, man. In the rich neighborhoods, they got nannies.
Yeah, they got nannies. Either way, the kids aren't inside all the time because the kids get into activities where they go and do a bunch of shit and their lives get it all extracurricular.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think
with problem in poorer neighborhoods where you don't have the money for all the activities you want to get involved in.
If you put a room of 5 rich kids, 5 middle class, and 5 poor, and you put a video game in front of them.
Everyone, of course, but that's the case of all history of ever. If video games existed 300 years ago, that would have been there. What I'm saying is different now is parents aren't saying, no, you can't play the game.
Put only the blame on, even, okay, so
I can put like 85% of the blame on the parents.
Okay, but you take away the age, put them at 12.
Yeah, it's the parents, they're still young enough that it's a parent's fucking job to tell them to go play outside. Yes, that's the parent's job. They're until 18. 18 is when, in Canada at least, is when now the parent loses.
You believe that you're going to be a parent right now. Let's say you have the income to make your wife be okay by herself. You really believe you're going to tell your kid to go play outside?
Fuck that. There's a cap on how much entertainment they're allowed a day.
How can you be able to say that if you're going to be able to abuse it as much as you want?
Because it's not abusing
because you're
it.
their parent.
But they're not going to abuse it. First of all,
you guys going to give your kids cell phones?
You're now attaching completely disconnected ideas together. So the idea of what I'm going to do and what my kids are allowed to do aren't the same. Because first of all, it's what my kids.
I'm actually trying to fight for the way to speak, and I'm just trying to say is my whole opinion because my opinion is I believe we live in
the
a
idea of what you're trying to describe this like because the technology exists, kids are choosing this, and that given their choice, they're always going to choose this. Of course, they did that with Monopoly before there was video games. They liked board games. They've always chosen games and activities.
The one common thing I'm saying there is. Even with a board game or whatever is, let's say you had to get together for social interaction.
Yeah, and I'm saying that still required parents to get you and your friends together for social interaction.
Will get out there and be like, hey, let's go play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm pretty sure
a ton of kids will do that if they're geeks and into D&D in their teenage years, but you're not getting that at 8.
Even at 8
well, why aren't you getting that at 8?
Okay, and if you are, your parents still all have to drive you to the kid who's hosting its house, or else it's not happening.
Okay, because of the
I don't see how you can have any kind of like this is the social life of a child. Right? That's what we're describing. The activities a kid is permitted to do. And in all cases, what a child does is what his parents permit them to do. So your issue, and I agree with you, is parents are being negligent in allowing their children far...
I'm just not agreeing on that.
Dude, you don't have to give your kid a cell phone. It's ridiculous to cave into that peer pressure, as an example. So if that kid doesn't have a cell phone, and none of those kids have cell phones because the parents didn't give their 10-year-old cell phones, then they don't have a way to play in the park like that. And if they are given cell phones and we don't come up with a way to make that interactive and interesting so there is activity to attach to it, like what Pokemon Go tried to do, then it's still on us and parents for not thinking of ways. Fucking take the kid's phone, go play outside. You have every right to do that as a parent. My parents would take the adapters of the consoles and lock them in a room. They would lock the television. What I'm saying is parents don't do this shit. They let the kids get babysat because it's easier. And I bet most of those kids, if you go look at what their parents are up to, they're not really paying attention. They're letting this shit babysit their children.
I just find it hard to believe that everything should be on the parent. Fine.
Well, not everything.
The cell phone.
But this specific issue, everything is on the parents in my eyes.
Could we, how about we look at it like, sure, it's a parent's responsibility that they should push the kid to go out and play. But how about the addictiveness of the technology? You know, like that's pretty serious because
I'm gonna go with Jay here. How about the addictiveness of sugar?
No, I agree. It's a drug.
That's another thing.
And again, that's on parents to make sure that their kids get the right.
It's too easy to.
But here's the thing, right? A lot of parents don't even realize that it's bad for their kids.
Like, look, watermelon. I thought watermelon was super healthy, and you could eat as much watermelon.
No,
as
it's
you
all
want.
sugar, bro.
Fructose, man.
I didn't even know that.
All sugar, bro.
So we can't. I think parents are ignorant, which is I think one of the earlier things I said. And as a result of their ignorance, they're allowing a lot of this shit to happen, which is bad. And the problem is that
I can also bring up what you said with the parents being overworked, and they're just too tired to make a meal.
That's where we can blame the government. But if we want to...
Can't really blame the government. They're just trying to make a fast source of food.
I would say that we could go real crazy and blame the Federal Reserve for this situation, and it's a longer conversation.
That's a much longer...
I could blame Canadian government for the false inflation rates and a few other things that have resulted in the current situation for not regulating stuff properly. Yes, I do blame the Canadian government for that, and the Quebec government.
All right.
I can't blame the other provinces. I've never been negatively impacted by them.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Look, all I'm trying to say is... It's like we've reached a problem where the technology is available, and it is the parents' responsibility to ensure that their children safely navigate this mess of technology because it's only going to get bigger, badder, and more worse.
A great example. Okay.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right, with children, you would used to see on TV a lot of toys of like, how can I say this? The toy was a Nerf ball, a Nerf gun. We still have certain commercials, but a lot of time the commercials on TV are about movies. And video games.
We're not allowed to play with Nerf guns no more. It's dangerous shit. They got taken from the kids. I mean, yeah, they're still there, but you're not really like allowed to play with Nerf guns.
Well, also, we're not watching kids channels. If you put on YTV, I'm sure there's a ton of like.
Look,
you watch YTV?
Yeah,
I don't really. Like, when I was a kid, all the commercials were advertisements for toys or movies and other shows. And I think that the fact that there are ads on kids shows in and of itself is poison and should stop.
There's some countries where that's illegal.
Children. And it's actually illegal if I'm not mistaken here, but we don't really enforce it, and it's kind of like skirted around. But really, you're advertising.
I know you can't have
there.
cartoons on cereal boxes because of the sugar.
It's fucked up that they advertise electronics.
That's why a lot of mascots are disappearing. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
because it's fucked up. Recently,
you're advertising the children.
And that's it's something that's been really pushed for recently. I think in Quebec there is actually a law that prevents advertisement to children, and a court case happened recently related to this subject. And you're going to start to see changes happening because you're right. They should not be pushing technology down the throats of little children. It should be the parents exposing their children, and then some kind of school program that teaches them how to use it as tools, not as ways of life, because there is the potential for addiction. Technology does impact your brain like drugs in the same way sugar does.
That's another big thing is that with all the technology we're getting, kids are becoming addicts.
Let's flip it around.
Well, think about it. Look, first off, what's the first thing as a child you get addicted to? What would be the first thing you get addicted to? Sugar.
But
you go for the next rush. What's the next rush? Maybe video games, maybe technology.
See, now you're going into like there's a million next rushes. That like there's not a clear path there.
Like, we had a conversation right before even having this discussion, and we were talking about. I say it's called the tree effect. And why do I call it the tree effect? Because you start off with one tree. It's like a big, like the trunk and everything. Then you got branches and so many branches, and that's why you get into so many conversations.
Which is fine. I'm just saying that, like, I get where you're coming from in terms of it, but I think that the issue is that kids are being like medicated and dumbed down and aren't being given an outlet to like express themselves.
Yeah, we've had conversations about
right, but this ties into this, right? So you said it's an addiction. You're right, but it's more of a symptom to a separate problem. The reason so many kids are turning to technology to escape is because, from what I can tell, more and more parents don't know how to deal with their kids because psychologists have really blurred the lines there, and
not only parents, teachers too.
And so you're right.
That's a whole different thing.
And if we want to talk about stuff like that, I'm gonna go way beyond in my blame game. But just on the issue of kids at a park playing on their cell phones, well, that's because their parents allowed them to be there.
It's not just at the park; it's at social family events.
Oh my God! I got one baby cousin. I got one baby cousin who doesn't let go of his iPad at anything, weddings and stuff.
His iPad or is it his family's?
It's his.
How old is he?
It's his. He didn't buy it because he doesn't have money, but his parents bought him a personal one that he's playing Minecraft on all the time.
You know what? I don't hate that.
I would guess around 10. Right now, 10.
Years old?
Around
When did he
10.
get it? When? Huh?
10 years. 10 years.
So a 10-year-old playing Minecraft isn't the worst thing in the world because Minecraft
No.
is just Lego.
No, but he carries it everywhere, and it's
But,
not.
You
It's
see your cousin often?
no. This is not very close relative, but
Okay, do you have a close relative, a younger kid who's close with you?
nah, no
I have
one
an
younger.
example
This
of an
is
older kid. My girlfriend's older sister is 40, and we go to family gatherings, and she can't put her phone down. And look, I'm not even.
well, that's exactly it.
And,
That's another thing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though, is that's the fear.
It's
That's
the
what
same with the
everyone's
kid,
afraid
though.
Of what everyone
I'm like that.
It's the same with the kid. If I
I'm
see him at
not
a
like
wedding,
that.
Well, I take no offense. I'm going to call something here. I've gone to your house. I've sit down with the podcast. And how many times do you check for views and stuff?
Yeah, but that's
Not all the
like
time. I know, but it's become now not an addiction, but it's become a habit.
well, it's like the
it's a
like system on
habit-based- but
Facebook.
It's not that. It's I'm tracking performance, right? I'm actually watching for patterns and
But
studying.
you check. Sometimes I've seen you check every 5 seconds.
Yeah, if I'm bored.
Yeah, okay,
But
Boredom. That's a good one
but
because
in general,
that's what we look
yeah,
at
no,
our
I
cell
guess
phones
you're
for
right.
because
It
we're
taps
bored.
into the same thing.
What?
Remember when we
Yeah.
both deleted Facebook?
Yeah.
How fucking freeing was that month?
It was pretty good.
It's fucking terrible. See, for shit like Facebook, I'm actually like, I don't know. I have a strange relationship. I have to have Facebook in light of all the stuff I'm doing. Frankly, one of the SEO points for YouTube is share it on Facebook and get a like. So I share it on my fan page and I like it for my personal page and I get the points every time.
Right.
And then it's good, it's useful and it's handy, but I don't know. I couldn't imagine a life without it because of the life I've chosen. It's such a work thing for me. It's not fun. It's not like a social gathering. It's a way to make my project stay alive.
I'm going to look at the bright side in all this and hope that these kids are just gonna be super technologically advanced.
You ever watch Wall-E?
No.
Yeah, well, I know of it. I never saw it.
Watch. Okay, that's your homework.
Okay,
not doing
watch
it.
Wall-E.
Fuck off.
But anyway, just that they're adapting with the times.
No, but with Wall-E, what happens is the Earth becomes so unpopulated that they have to build robots to come and clean up the Earth.
Right.
Go on an arc.
Okay.
And the people become they evolve technically.
Yeah.
Where they evolve into a point where we don't have bones to able to stand up. They have these little robotic chairs that bring you. And then they have these protein shakes, which are food. They're full of calories and they're just blobs of people.
But dude, the reality behind that is so far fetched. It's not gonna happen.
No, it's the message though. It's the metaphor.
Yeah,
it's the
it's a
metaphor.
good
But you know what? I kind
But
of see that happening eventually. Maybe
I
not in
think
our
that-
decade. Maybe not in the
I
next
think that
200
it's a
years.
matter of looking at it like this. I think that we are very sedentary.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the problem.
Well, that's North American
and it's
lifestyle.
not just technology that's made us sedentary. We've just been lazy for a long because even people without access to technology would still rather sit on a porch and stare out into nature than do stuff.
But that's, you know what? Fine. But I would at least
So-
go outside communicating. Like, you
No,
go to Brazil.
actually,
Like,
dude,
from-
where I'm going with this is the problem is a lack of exercise and
I go to
proper health,
Brazil.
right?
And I'll be sitting outside with family members, even though we're sitting outside, but we're socializing. There's no phones. Everyone's sitting down around, and that's the block. Except as soon as 6 o'clock comes, the whole block is outside in the front, and they're all talking.
Yeah,
You-
but
and
that's
almost
not
everywhere.
possible.
I remember
to
nights like that in
happen.
Greece.
Think
I don't
that-
think it's like that
guys,
anymore in
you
Greece,
can't- you
but I
can't
remember
compare
those
that
nights.
shit.
A lot of places still
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, but a lot of places that have third world problems are like that. You're absolutely right.
But I still see.
So-
I think we were like that at one point in our
Yeah, but
lives.
we
Maybe
can't.
not
But
when I was alive.
again, a lot of the stuff we discussed earlier, the changing of times. It's not. I live on Fielding Street. I live next to the hood. Right? That's not the hood anymore, but it used to be.
I don't really consider
Is it?
Walkley and Fielding is a very dangerous place in '96.
Okay,
Okay.
96. But when I look at it
And
now, it looks so white.
let's say 2005, it's still not a safe place. It's only now because of gentrification. And the area's been heavily gentrified.
God
It's
bless
gone up.
gentrification.
And so yeah, you're right. Now it's really clean. But 5 years ago, man, a kid, you can't have kids playing on Fielding Street. Look at that street. It's so fucking busy. How are you supposed to play outside? You have to go to that park.
For me, where you gotta get a park.
And then you're going into the other problem where now when you're talking about your Brazil life, yeah, of course you can just chill on the block. You don't have to go to the park. You can just chill there because it's cool. That doesn't exist in major cities.
I know.
And so when having a conversation like
But
this,
on
you
my
can
street, I
easily
can't.
make that comparison. But when I went to Pakistan, guess what I saw? A bunch of poor fuckers who love family. I came back here, a bunch of rich fuckers who hate family. That's just...
What I'm looking
Across the
forward
world,
to is in
right?
July when my parents take their vacation, because you know what I'll do is I'll grab a cooler, I'll hang out with two buddies in front of my house drinking beer. I love
Talking
doing that,
all
and
night.
just talk.
Yeah.
And like, remember that thing I posted where who would you have a
Yeah,
conversation?
the 2 a.m. on the
Yeah.
roof thing. Yeah.
It's
How
just
great would that
like
be?
I would not be allowed to do that where I live. Like
I
it's
think
not
you could do
even.
that really
It's
well.
definitely not an option I'm fielding. I could do it on my balcony.
Do you have a balcony? Well, that's just
I
it.
could
That's
do
it.
that till about 10 o'clock, where I'd have to get kind of quiet and the conversation couldn't get louder.
But on the weekend, no.
Absolutely. Do you know what the noise complaint laws in Montreal are? 24/7. If you disturb anyone, it's a ticket. I can't take that risk. I make podcasts and shit in my apartment. I can't have the habit of cops coming to my place. Therefore, at all times in my apartment, I'm bound by like this idea that if I do get too loud or too disruptive, I can't have a party. You're not even allowed to have parties in your leases anymore. Most lease clauses have that. So you're talking about most people live in apartments in this city just based on population. It means most people don't have the opportunity to really have that free life that you're describing for kids.
How many parties do you say in your building they have? Maybe you're.
No, it's in my fucking lease. It's part of leases now.
Yes, but do people follow their lease completely?
I don't care, and they had a party once, and they checked with me. But my point is it's
neighborly.
harder to get away with parties without the cops showing up than ever in where I live.
In an apartment building, yes.
And that's my point. But when you live in an apartment life, it's so different when it comes down to dealing with kids.
Well, I don't believe in an apartment life. I believe in an apartment building life.
Which is an apartment life.
I know, because I see it two different ways: apartment building and an apartment from like my house.
This
Oh,
is
yeah,
still
like
like a
a
triplex.
duplex,
It's still a
yeah.
house. You guys have backyards. It's not comparable.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
No,
agreeing with you, but I'm just
backyards and
saying-
front yards
Yeah.
are things we don't have really. And if you do go there and loiter, it's loitering, and you're not like. I'm just trying to describe the context. So when
But
I
why
was
don't you say you're a bit more paranoid because of your podcasting?
no, I'm just trying to picture what it would be like to have kids in this neighborhood. Actually, because I'm almost 30 and shit, and that stuff crosses my mind. And I look around, and it's like,
Well, I believe in my head, I don't think you would live in that apartment building if you were going to have kids.
yeah, no, I couldn't. It would not be a feasible area for me to raise
But have
kids
you
in.
thought about moving now, maybe into a different place?
Absolutely not. I just moved in. I'm not having kids right now.
It's
Why would
true.
I do that?
I don't know. He moved in.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but I've thought about it, right? And there's not a lot of great places in Montreal if you're stuck in an apartment to raise kids and have the kind of freedom that doesn't create the kind of reliance on technology to babysit your kids. And you're kind of stuck with that because what do you want? Your kid to sit there bored? You can give him board games, but if none of his friends can come play, that only fills 5 out of 168 hours a week,
Give
right?
him a book.
Give him a book, sure. But
He's using his imagination.
I agree. So then give him a Kindle and give him 1,000 books. What's the problem with that? Oh, none, because he's still reading. It's good. Now, there is a debate about how the shit processes in your brain. I don't know what that is,
I kind
but
of do agree with that statement with the book. If you have an actual book in your hand, I feel like you actually read.
which is cool.
know.
But if you're going to go 200
thought
years
so,
in the
but-
future, dude, paper books are done. It's a thing of the past, and whether or not we think it's good, it's just not going to be in our future.
I used to
So,
think that the
the
physical copy was
nostalgic-
good, but I've been reading a
I
lot
read
more
a lot
electronic,
more
and
articles
it's the same
electronically
thing to
than I
me.
do newspapers.
Let me tell you why my mind completely changed. I used to believe like you guys. After having the eye infection,
Yeah.
and I think I screwed up my vision a bit
Because of all the
looking at my
screen
cell
you're
phones
looking
and
at?
screens.
Yeah, well,
Which
but
you
I've always
always-
been looking at screen. The
You know
most
what?
I blame it on is
I
my
mean,
glasses.
I
Oh,
don't-
like if you ever get an eye infection,
I
like
just
I did, you'll
think
understand.
that you might be right. There might be some kind of negative long-term consequence to it. But if your choices are give him a book, or give him a Kindle, or nothing, and give him a Kindle is a fucking great option. I
You
think
know how now you can where I work, I have a woman who's very kind to me, and every day where we're working together, she replaces me because she's a secretary.
All right.
And you know how many times she gets Amazon's just sending her books for like 10 cents?
yeah,
Like
but-
Amazon's amazing. That's a great
Okay,
service.
but I don't want random ass books. I mean, you're right. You can
Why
get all
not?
this.
Why not?
I actually do. If I could join like a loot box that send me books,
You can
for
definitely
cheap.
do that.
Yeah,
I would
cheap,
rather.
yeah, I'll do
Re-
it.
they probably have
But
something.
you could also just go to the like fucking hospitals, use book sale, and spend $1 there.
Libraries are dying.
You can save one by
You
going
know
to a
what? It's
library.
because it's a lot harder to like carry around books than it used to be, and our lives
But
are a
then
lot
tell that to
busier.
the average student and the average college student. That
You're
has to carry
right,
the book.
but they are more and more often downloading the PDF copies of their books.
Yeah.
and less and
Say
less.
that to
off-
the teacher.
I am saying that this
That's
is how
trying
it
to
kind
pimp out
of.
his book.
There isn't a comp size student in the world who paid for a book except for that one guy who first uploaded the PDF.
Yeah.
Like, you can say what you want about it, but as technology goes on, books are archaic in terms of their power of update. So
I still believe that if the good
and if you want to talk about university, what a capitalist scam to release the new edition every
That's
year.
a whole
So
other
that's the
conversation.
Yeah.
But my point is that books are going away, and the future isn't even going to be Windows and computers and keyboards.
I was in when I took CJEP. When I was in CJEP, one of the teachers I got the book and I'm all happy, I'm ready, prepared. The teacher's like, "Oh, you don't need the book." I looked at it and I'm like, I can't even return this. I kind of I dropped
That
the
sucks.
test right after because my CJEP experience wasn't great.
Right.
And I told the teacher that I should have got kicked out so many times. I told the
Yeah,
teacher to fuck off straight
but
up.
I
As soon as
guess-
he did, I got up and left.
Now Audible is a thing, right? Now you can
Audible's
listen to
dope,
books.
which is great, man. So it's like you take like a philosophy,
You listen to
the Art of
podcasts,
War,
yeah.
and you hit play, and it's a 27-minute MP3 file, and you just listen to it on the train.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, like a podcast but an audio book?
yeah,
It's an audiobook.
It's just audiobooks,
yeah.
but the specific service is called Audible.
Yeah.
How much is that?
Oh, I don't know.
Affordable. I'm certain it's affordable.
No, I don't want that.
Well, I
But-
mean, everything's affordable.
Yeah, but you look at it like that. This is a matter of, okay, so I'm at the gym now or I'm riding my bike. I play the book instead of listening to music. It's a replacement thing so that instead of listening to music or wasting
But
time.
I just-
or-
Same with podcasts too. Like
I just don't believe you
know.
retain the same amount of information in that way.
You see, that's the debate.
See, that is,
That's
I
the
can actually
debate.
have a valid opinion here. That's super person to person.
Okay.
I think so, too.
Can't, like, I remember.
I really do believe that though. I think this might be thick-headed of me, and I'll agree. And I understand your guys' points, but I really believe if you give a person, if he listens to it, but he has to go back to look at something, I feel if he looked at it himself and thought about it with a clear head, he will retain it in a better way.
Yeah, but we're talking about, like, if you're going to go then ahead, just to counter that, what if you are now able to listen to 8 books on that subject in the period of time it would have taken you to read one? You're right. In the very specifics, you're not going to retain as much.
He's going to get 8
but-
different views on it.
And you're going to get a lot more. I mean, they're different purposes. If you're studying it for the sake of looking for quotes, you're right. If you're trying to get the gist of subjects to understand, Audible is really powerful. Like,
No, but that also comes down. Are you actually studying for an exam, or are you just doing this for your fun? Because if you're doing this for your fun, you can say you did this for your fun and you loved it and you take it better. And if you're doing it for an exam,
I don't think it's about that. It's if you're curious about knowledge or not.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
we're going
Like,
the same
yeah,
path.
because like for me, it's like I would listen to a book about philosophy just because maybe I don't really have the time to like sit down or the mental focus because so much of my life is reading. I have to read so much for work that to actually sit there and read this next book. Oh, it's just sometimes too many words. And I say that as a person who actively makes sure to read 15 minutes a
that's the
day.
difference.
And so for who the audiobook is designed for is just it's all about optimizing.
Well, we can also
your
say that's
flow.
for like the lazy person. The audiobook was made for the
I don't-
lazier person.
Well, I would say it's
Busier, maybe?
Lazier
Busier.
is only for people who choose to do it because they're lazy. If I'm doing it because it better optimizes my time to accomplish more, it's far from
But you
lazy.
could also say the argument is like you could have made the time to take.
I couldn't make the time, is what
but
I'm
you-
saying.
I'm pretty sure you could.
I actually am telling you factually, if I run out my week for you, there's no time for me to properly
It's
read
because
books.
you're taking, okay, but you're also making the choice of doing this podcast. Right?
No, this is what I'm trying to say is if you're trying to do things in life, when you're really doing things in life, to make a claim like you can make the time, no, you can't because you make commitments in life. Then you don't have as much free time. And if you're reading the words, but you're not retaining the information, then it's useless.
I'm not with you 24 hours, but I'm pretty sure I can find a moment where you could have took a time to read maybe a chapter.
Yeah, but then I could also have read the audiobook.
Read or write? What did you?
No, read.
You said
so
read.
you're right. I could have read that chapter, or on the bus on the way to work when I couldn't have. I couldn't necessarily. You're fucking stuck on a pack ass bus. I couldn't read standing up, etc.
I
Tons
read
of reasons
on the
where
bus.
you can, or driving.
It's
driving
the-
to work.
it's-
Okay, so I'm driving
Yeah.
to work. Let's say I'm in a car. I can't read a book, but I can pop in an audiobook.
Yeah.
And now
Also, but maybe the time you save the driving there, you could have read it on the time we were at
doubtful, man. Like now you're just like stretching, but I'm telling you
I'm
that
not stretching. I'm like, see, that's where I'm getting irritated is because like I'm coming out with these facts or these things I'm trying to
But
say.
you're,
is you're looking-
I'm making
we're both
assumptions.
counter.
So I'm saying in a regular life circumstance, I'm driving to work. Instead of this, I'm doing this. That makes
What
me
time do you
productive.
start work?
No, you hear me. You're not letting me finish, Jay.
But you haven't let me
You-
finish once, so I'm gonna cut you off for once. What time do you start work?
9 in the morning.
Okay, let's say you got up early. Let's say you went in at 7. You have now 2, and you get there at 7:30. You have an hour and a half to do something.
Right, but that's assuming that's just making assumptions that you can just rearrange everything.
I'm doing the same thing you're doing.
No,
too.
I'm saying I'm already driving to work. I'm already on this schedule. I'm not changing anything except for my habit while I'm doing this pre-existing habit. And you're saying, why don't you change your habit? I'm saying I'm not changing the habit. I'm already driving to work.
And to me,
I
that's
better
the
use,
lazier thing.
That's not lazy. Lazy is when you don't do things because it's hard. That's what laziness is about.
This is not hard.
My point is optimizing your time to accomplish more and acquire more knowledge isn't lazy. It's smart.
I'm just saying.
It's the opposite of lazy. It's like lazy would be like, I can't do two things at once, so I'm going to do the easier thing and segregate my time. I'd call that fucking lazy.
Right.
That's like you're not working efficiently and you're not going to accomplish as much, so it's the lazier way. Like flat out.
I'm not going to be able to look at, as you, I'm using you as an example because we're talking, I'm not going to be able to see your whole day. I'm not looking at your whole day. You can give me a list of everything you do.
What I'm trying to describe is you're saying you can easily just fit in a chapter a day. I'm saying you're right, but you can easier fit in an audiobook a day because you can multitask that shit way better.
Actually, audiobooks are sometimes like 7 hours long.
Yeah, but you're at a day of work. You're sitting there copying and pasting, or you're at a restaurant. Put in your fucking headphones. You're
No,
doing
I can't
this.
do that. Can't
I'm not
have
saying that
headphones in a
everyone
restaurant.
can.
But I know what you're
Is
talking about.
I agree with you that the
I
information
see
that
the
you're
point.
retaining from reading that chapter will probably be more valuable for the chapter. But I'm saying you can accomplish a larger vastness of things by and it's not lazy to do that. It's just a different thing.
One thing.
That's the only thing is you're right. I will admit that. But now it's the difference for me here. Here's the variable I will put in. If you're doing this for, let's say, for fun, compared for an actual thing, an exam, a work meeting, or something, I believe there's two ways. If you're doing it for fun, let's say I listen to, what's a book that everyone's listening to now? I don't even, or reading.
I have no idea.
What's something you had to read? Okay, The Catcher in the Rye.
Okay, Catcher in the
I
Rye.
can listen to The Catcher in the Rye 4 times before I read it once, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I read it that's just listen to it for fun. But let's say I have to do a book report tomorrow. I put it in.
Yeah, it's a
and I write
stupidly
it.
inefficient thing to do if you have to do a book report. But if we're talking about most people, they're not students and they're regular folk. I think at any time you choose to use your time productively, like acquire knowledge, you can't call it lazy because it's on the less interesting side of life per se. Right? I'm not saying that it's boring.
I'm not saying okay, fine. Maybe
But
the word lazy was wrong.
That was
but I
it.
kind of do believe it is lazy in a way because I feel like you're not putting your full
I
on
think
effort there.
it's like this. It's like people who watch the movie to avoid reading the book.
Yes,
if
I've
you
done that
are
many times.
doing the audio book to avoid having to read ever, you're right. Now, if you're already reading a bunch of shit and the audio book is about just getting more shit into your head, it's not lazy. It's just something else.
See, that's another thing. Is like I can also say like I can understand if you listen to the audiobook because it's 30 minutes and the book is short and like whatever. I put it on when I'm on my drive. Fine, I understand that. But then, what happens if it's like the Lord of the Rings?
So then
you're looking
listen.
for a different meaning. You're looking for
Yeah,
something.
but I know a lot of people who can just like close their eyes and hear somebody talk about a story and get lost in it and retain the information. Like I know people who can verbatim remember shit that they hear, right? And then there's people who have to read it, and then there's people who have to write it. And I never understood those people.
I kind of have to stop us both right now because it's been me and you going back and forth.
That's
you
okay.
need to talk, sir. Let's
Costa
hear some
Costa sat here and wanted this. the whole
Honestly,
time.
there's a quote that I know that says like you can't learn by talking, so I'm learning by listening. Ironically, isn't that what you guys were arguing about retaining when listening? No, okay. One thing that I wanted to add to the conversation was just that when I'm sitting at my desk listening to podcasts, I could retain stuff as long as I'm not doing really mentally demanding things. When I got to start reading documents or you can't. And the worst part about listening while trying to read something, which can't be done. I'm convinced that no one could do it. The worst part about it
depends on what, but to a degree, yes, I can do both at once.
I don't know, man. Anyway, so let me just finish my thought is that if you're reading and listening, you won't realize that you haven't been listening.
I know,
but when you're reading and you say, shit, I don't understand what happened, and you got to read the page over, at least you catch yourself and know that you didn't pay attention.
I can tell you that I rarely come across stuff I listen to that I just lose myself.
But I feel here's a question for you, Costa.
Yeah.
Let's say you have an exam tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not an exam. Let's say you have an exam coming up.
All right.
Do you feel if I give you the exam, I give you like a history exam, where you need to know dates, and you listen to it, will you retain the same amount of information if you actually read it? Like if the dates and stuff?
Well,
I think that sorry, Costa, answer.
Well, I was just going to say that lectures are recorded these days, and I would always listen to the lectures. But also, well, I took notes while I listened, right? There's a difference.
See,
okay, because you're going into like another realm of stuff, right? So if it's just like, and hear me out. So I remember all of the Great Lakes of Canada, not because I read them in a book, but because somebody said Holmes. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior, and they said Holmes.
I didn't know that.
Trick.
How come I didn't learn that? I went to the same school as you, motherfucker.
I had Mr. Brown.
It's an acronym for
the Great Lakes. Or BASMOC triple NP to remember all the provinces in their correct order.
So wait a minute.
What? I didn't know that either. What the hell?
Sense. British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and BASMOC triple NP. So I remember I used, and so what I'm saying is in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And
I knew
if you can attach some kind of a lyric or a memory aid to the oral thing, then I would say that you can absolutely do it. But the problem with something like studying for a test is it's not the most efficient way to remember. I agree with you.
I was remembering a famous scene I was saying, and you gave me that look, in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when he's studying in the living room and he starts dancing, he's reading, and he's making up rhymes with acronyms and stuff.
Yeah.
And Uncle Phil comes out, shuts off the music. But he's like, that's how I learned.
Yeah.
And like
and it's true. It's a legit way.
I just believe that the retention of information, I believe, is greatly more increased when you're actually doing something. When it's being done for you, I really don't believe, and that's where I'm saying, that's where it comes from me, the stigma. I really believe if I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm not going to retain as much as actually if I put in the effort of reading it myself.
See, I think that is going to always come down to interest, right? And so if I'm not interested. So if I'm listening to an audiobook about general business strategy, I don't actually need to read every word because I would have skimmed this shit anyway, right? And it's for stuff you would have skimmed so that you can listen to and get somebody else's perspective. What you're describing with history, let's say, I would absolutely read that shit myself because it's so detail-oriented that it is an easier way.
Only English, French, like language courses, and then history are the only courses you can actually use this argument because you can't do this for math.
Math is just a complex, like math is an exercise-based thing, right?
Like physics and stuff like that.
But let's talk about the more advanced side of physics. Let's talk about the theory. Let's talk about
theory of relativity.
Like I'm talking about like university level physics. Absolutely, you could listen to an audiobook describing some new thing and you'd be able to follow it. I started watching YouTube channels that are the equivalent of that. That are
I can understand your point there, but theory, like I can't actually, I can't go into that too much because I have no idea. I've never done it myself.
So all I'm trying to say is that there's a time and a place for all of it. And if your intent is to just jump on technology to be lazy, I agree with you. And that's intention. But if your intent is to use technology as a resource to enhance your life...
without doing something, he balanced it for me right away. And it's a simple answer.
He's pointing to me, by the way.
Costa. I'm pointing to Costa, my co-host.
Nothing simple about me.
He pointed it out perfectly. You're listening to the audiobook, but you're taking notes.
Oh, that was listening to the lecture. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, both. See, that's the perfect harmony right there.
Well,
you're listening and you're learning by writing it
there's
down.
actual percentages associated with the effectiveness of memory of information related to reading, writing, oral, and you're right. And the more combination, effectively, you should be able to read the information, hear the information, say the information, and write the information, and that's like 90% success rate of like retention. Right. So the more channels of information you acquire, the better it is. So if you really want to learn a subject, don't just use audiobooks. Read, hear it, go talk to people, etc.
Finally, we agree on something. But that's it. Me and you, that's not the argument anymore. That's why I'm saying a lot of our generations will use the short, easy way to do it.
Where I come in with parents and stuff, where I'm going to do with my kids in the future, is I'm going to help them understand that technology isn't about shortcuts. It's about knowledge. And where it's going to boil down to parenting is if parents can frame the cell phone and the technology and the resources in a way that it's a tool and not a lifestyle,
here's another thing,
then it changes.
The cell phone has evolved to such a point now. Like back in the day, we didn't have these issues because the cell phone did one thing: it made a call. Now our cell phones, what do we do with our cell phones? We can make a porn,
everything.
We can make a YouTube video, we can make a rap, we can do whatever the hell we want with it half the time now.
Yep.
Like my friend, one of our mutual friend Corey, just got a cell phone that has 6 gigs of RAM.
Which is all insanity. Which is all insanity, but it still comes down to
What do you need 6 gigs of RAM?
To play Elder Scrolls, man. Come
Legit.
to run OBS and Steam and Twitch and shit off your phone.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, I just gave you a valid reason.
No, but like you don't need 6. You don't need 6 gigs of RAM to run.
All I know is with some of the newer video cameras, with the multitasking of the phone is going to require a
Do you
lot.
remember what Bill Gates said by chance?
About?
We'll never need more than X amount of kilobytes in a fucking RAM.
He said something is some sort of 32 megabytes. He said,
yeah. No, it was kilobytes. It wasn't even megabytes. It was like 256
That's
kilobytes
crazy.
of RAM or something like that. I remember that quote. But again, I still think that it's a matter of what parents tell their kids. And if the parents tell their kids, don't use your phone all the time because your brain's going to turn to mush, and parent their children about this, and you're going to have the bad apples who are addicted, and you're going to have that distribution because that's how people are.
I just believe we're getting to the point where we're going to be like in the Matrix, where we're going to have like something fucking just loading us up, and we're not even going to be living anymore.
Like glasses and shit soon. That's unrealistic.
Whoa!
Google Glass.
Anything on E3 by any chance?
No, I didn't bother.
Okay, fine. I respect.
Oh, virtual reality.
So much
Yeah.
VR shit.
So much VR.
Skyrim, and I was jizzing over it because I want to play Skyrim as a guy just standing in my room, waving my hands like an idiot.
We got
Honestly,
VR technology in our
VR
at work.
technology and AR. So I've been like,
I've never tried it. I'm not on that project.
yeah.
Do it. Just
But no, let's say I've looked into what's available, and I agree what's about to come. But I can tell you one thing: we play Fallout and Skyrim on a fucking VR with one of those harness outfits or whatever the fucking.
I don't even want to talk about that now.
My
life is gonna.
I would lose so much weight playing video games that the irony behind it would be next level. I just have to throw it out there.
I see, like, obviously not in our lifetime. We're gonna have just the next consoles are not even gonna be consoles. It's just gonna be like, okay, ship this big chamber.
Actually, it's going to go one step further. So if you know anything about the HoloLens and the way things are going like that, it's
with holograms everywhere.
Combination of augmented reality and virtual reality. But ultimately, put on a pair of glasses, look at your wall, click the TV app, stick it to the wall. Okay, and that's it.
No, I believe that. I've seen so many
And
things
I believe that Windows 10 is the last OS of this kind.
No, I don't believe that.
I think that we're going to see a new type of OS that involves a more interactive.
Well, did you not see that video a while back with the iPhone where the cell phone was on your wrist? But it was just like a picture.
It still had the conventional OS. Yeah. What I mean is more of like there's no start menu anymore in a conventional way. It's more
like that.
Yeah, some kind of, maybe there is. But
well, here's a crazy thing. We're talking technology now. And did you see the thing for the heroin?
The what?
No.
Oh, this looks amazing. So what happens is it's like a little piece that goes by your ear that sends a certain sound wave, or I don't know if it's a surgery, and it makes your body, because you have a certain period for heroin withdrawal, detoxing, and it's like it actually causes a physical pain.
Right. Yeah.
So what happens is they found where it happens, and they found like a sound wave that or a transmission that blocks it out.
And what do? They inject vibrations or something like
weird. I'm not too sure. Yeah. So they're gonna block it out and they're gonna give it to you. So what happens is the government's perfecting this in the States, and they're gonna give you an option: prison or treatment.
Okay, I see.
Wow,
and
interesting.
The treatment, they do it and they give it to you for a certain time, and then after the withdrawal things is you have to go through the psychological thing, because just because you're able to go through the withdrawal.
No, of course. Of course.
Fair enough.
Guys, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
and I absolutely love how we went through so many topics. Like, this is why I love doing this podcast. Just a huge range of conversation.
I like seeing where Jay sleeps. It's very weird. Jay's been in my house a whole bunch. I've never been to Jay's place before.
This is my house.
It's a nice place.
It's quaint as I look.
Holden, thanks for joining us. You want to plug in your
all your stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk after this.
All right. Say something audible.
Oh yeah, you should just hopefully Costa puts below, so because I have a lot of links, I'll just copy and paste the thing I put normally, and then you can click on that, holla at me on Twitter and stuff. Check out the other podcasts, and I'll be dropping an EP later on this year. So once that's out, I'll make them push it.
Thanks a lot.
That's it.
Okay, bye guys.
All right.
Take care.
Peace and love.